and I'm watching this stuff.
With the Stalker, it's going to be Sentry first.
And that could mean no Stargate, Kev, as that gas is going somewhere new this time. Bomber's gone 3 racks this time, so maybe feeling that he needs to have that extra Marine production out because it has been Oracle every single game.
2 additional gates being wiped in right now. This could be for defensive purposes, but could definitely, you know, go for some aggression as well. Maybe get a proxy pilot out somewhere in the map. We saw Duck doing this against Innovation. It's one of those openings where, you know, I can march across the map with my Mothership Core with only 2-3 units, but if I see you barely have anything, I can warp in 3 additional units, and suddenly it's 5 units in Mothership Core, maybe a time warp going down, because this is the exact same way as Duck opened. But considering the fact that Bomber has opened up with 3 Rexes and not with 2, or even sometimes, you know, you see Terrans go super greedy and go 1 Rex into factory immediately, I don't think that SOS ever wants to think about being aggressive, as he would just play into Bomber's hands.
There's the Robo that Apollo was talking about, so we could be seeing Colossus play on Belshir Vestige. It could also just be for observers and setting up that eventual transition. Oh, the Reaper's got moves like Jagger, hops up into the main base and is going to get a great scout, sees all 3 gates, and even the Robo before going down to Sentry.
Yep, so he spotted the fact that there are 3 sentries, also burning a little bit of energy, which is nice for Bomber to know. He's like, hey, if I want to send my Marines across the map, and that means that you just wasted 100 energy. That's 2 additional force fields, or that I don't have to worry about anymore. It's just going to be Observer into Templar, by the way, which I am not very surprised by seeing, unless he's also going to go Colossus at the same time. But I don't think he's going to do that. He will most likely just start researching charge once more, as he is just that type of player.
Yeah, definitely stylistically what he has favored. For as long as we've been talking about SOS, Kev, Observers and Zealots on the way. Twilight Council will finish up, and probably going to be a very early charge. Bomber's out on the map with a lot of bio, Kev. 22 army supply to 13. Whoa, there's an early Warp Prism. A little bit new, a new twist.
Oh, he's gonna have to drop foot and overcharge immediately, as these are a lot of Marines. But this is also a little risky for Bomber. Force fields will go down.
Wow, great force fields, and Bomber's forced to fight, and he will lose more than just a small handful of Marines as he runs away, I guess licking his wounds. That Warp Prism will be out on the map shortly, and that's going to give SOS some
Get some coffee.
Some ability to apply some counter pressure.
The Observer that's making his way across the map as well is extremely important for SOS. It's the moment that SOS is going to see, okay, there's no 3rd command set, he's going to see the timing of the factory and above all the starport. Now he just knows, all right, I'm just going to macro up on 2 bases for a little while, because it seems like you are staying on 2 bases for a while. So I don't have to go up to 3 bases at this point, because if it's 2 base against 2 base, but I'm going to have an upgrade advantage, or I'm going to have Storm and Charge, I should be fine for quite a while.
I can't help but feel that this is looking great for SOS. Bomber's going to push forward once more. A scary number of bio units, Kev, but with no medevacs overhead. He's going to stem forward. Is there energy for a photon overcharge? Yes, there is. There it goes after the force field's going down, and once again, Bomber gets pushed back.
Bomber has been losing quite a few Marines here and there. He's never lost his entire army, but still, he's just not getting much done. Yes, he is burning a lot of energy and picking off a few Zealots here and there, but SOS is completely okay with that, as long as he's buying time for maybe his first Archons, or at least Charge to finish up. And certainly once those 4 additional gates finish, SOS can actually start thinking about putting on some counter-aggression as well with this Warp Prism. SOS is playing a brilliant game once more.
5 more gates. I think SOS smells blood in the water, Roddy, and I think Bomber will have a very difficult time stopping a huge gateway push from our Protoss player. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gates total.
Here comes the Warp Prism. He's going to drop a couple of Zealots on top of this middle line. Bomber, his forces are so far out of position. Certainly if SOS decides to warp in a few additional units, but he doesn't even have to.
This is getting really tough for Bomber.
Okay, he's just not really... for a second I thought he was going to send the SCVs across the map. I was like, no, too early.
But he's also not sending any units back home. He's just relying on his reinforcements popping out of the barracks. Bomber's pushing forward as if he wants to make an attack. There's no Storm being researched. It's just Zealots and Archons against Marine Marauder Medevac. And good force fields immediately. It's going to be a lot of dead Marines. Hot pickup, but it only gets 3 Marines. The rest have been shredded. This Archon's going to get a lot of kills before he ends up going down. Here's the first-person view of Startail's Bomber, who's frantically trying to deal with this harassment in his main base while attacking on the other end of the map. He's down to 79 supply against about 85 supply of Protoss.
As a two-base Terran in this phase of the game, you really hope to do more damage than he did. And instead, he actually took damage. He lost a lot of mining time. He lost one of his refineries there, which is not a big deal. But that just shows for the fact that this is not the way that this game is supposed to play out in this phase. SOS is up 10 workers, Ben. He doesn't have Storm yet, as far as I know.
No, it hasn't even started Storm.
No. But I mean, he does have that +2 armor on the way. He's going to still have Guardian Shield for the fights. He has Archons. This is going to be very tough for Bomber. Next fight, there will be a Photon Overcharge once more. I really love how SOS is reading these games and be like, as long as I don't need 3 bases, I'm not going to go 3 bases. I'm not going to play into your head. He's really adapting a lot.
Oh, here
how
we
the
go.
game is going. Oh my God,
All
Bomber.
comes down to this. Bomber's got a huge army, and the SCVs are going to come join the fight. Photon Overcharge has been forced. It should expire by the time the rest of Bomber's troops show up. High Templar are going to get focused down as well. Storm's a long way off. He's not going to have it for the big fight. Bomber's trying to end this game now. If SOS holds, he has advanced to the finals.
Man, those force fields are fantastic. Once more, Photon Overcharge is really doing a lot of damage. And as long as this goes on, SOS is going to wipe in more and more and more Zealots. He dropped a couple of feedbacks as well on these medevacs. This is looking absolutely fantastic for SOS.
SOS pulls the probes. Zealots and Archons against Marines and Marauders. The SCVs have melted away at 70 supply to 100. The Army supplies favor SOS. Bomber has been beaten back. Good game. Congratulations. SOS moves on to the final.
And for the first time, man, SOS is happy as well. He raised.
Bomber has been beaten back. Good game. Congratulations. SOS moves on to the final.
And for the first time, man, SOS is happy as well. He raised his hands. What does this mean?
Finally seeing some emotion out of this very talented Protoss player. An impressive victory as we pass it on over to Marcus at the desk to give us his thoughts.
Thank you, guys. A 3-1. A lot of discussion about that final game up here on the desk. We don't have a whole lot of time before we go to the winner's interview, so let's make our comments quick. Who wants to kick us
Real
off?
quick, DJ Wheat.
Yes.
It's nice sitting with Todd. We're actually, well, he's still a pro gamer. I was. Apollo wasn't sure about the ebb and flow of the game. We had to explain it to him. He's like, guys, I'd like to bet money on this because I'm so sure. And we're like, Apollo, you got that
Jeff.
caster money. We'll take some of it from you.
All
It was
right,
fine.
great.
Jeff,
Your argument, Sean?
the only one thing I agree with you on is that this is better for J-Dong.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
we both agree on
That's
that.
the only one thing.
I mean, I really think that SOS played like a brilliant final game, given the fact that he set up so many Stargate plays back to back to back to back to back. And in that game, it was just a regular gateway opening. And I like that it can apply pressure if your opponent's being a little greedy. We've seen Bomber be willing to go for a 3 command center after his initial barracks just to try to exploit his opponent's patterns. And there, the ability to transition so quickly back into that Zealot style play, especially with the Warp Prism. I mean, Bomber,
Yes.
he read him like a book. Bomber wanted to win on 2 bases. He wanted to be aggressive.
Final thoughts real quickly before
I
we throw-
really like the incorporation of that Warp Prism at the end of the game. Bomber's been mid-map all series long. He wants to
was
get that
smart,
aggression.
yeah.
He wants to be at the base of the ramp. 4 Zealots tilted him. He's in that position where he's like, well, do I just come home and suffer that loss, or do I go all in? But with the Photon Overcharge and thankfully enough sentries to do that kind of passive defensive play, he was always going to be able to absorb Bomber and take the advantage, and then he win.
Todd, you predicted SOS. Your thoughts on the series?
I was
Oh,
right.
crap.
I was right. I get the chance to say it. All
No,
right.
like, not just
I
score-wise
did pick
or
Bomber,
with the
didn't
player
I?
I predicted, also with the style that SOS used. I said he was going to use the Charge Lord Templar, and then in the end, in every game he did, and he was quite successful. He made this strategy looks like the most viable, like the best that you can do versus Terran right now. So I think if Maru gets to the final, SOS is going to be the favorite.
All right, well, we found our first finalist. It's SOS. Let's shoot it to the main stage with Chobra, who's standing by with an interview with our winner.
Thank you, Marcus. And the first candidate to possibly be the best player of WCS 2013 in StarCraft II Auto Swarm, it is SOS from Wongjin Stars. Give another big shout out, everyone. So, you know, for a lot of the Korean players, the first year when they really get to go out into the foreign scene, it's new to them. You know, to hear you guys chanting their name, I want to see what SOS has to say about that.
일단 축하드리고요. 저희 이번 블리즈콘 와서 이제 결승전 진출하셨는데 방금 이기시니까 정말 관계에서 모두가 막 SOS 환호하고 그랬는데 느낌이 어떠셨어요?
우선 제가 어제 경기를 다 백스테이지에서 했어요. 근데 이렇게 멋있고 다 열정적인 팬분들 앞에서 경기하고 싶었는데 이대로 떨어지는 거 아닌가 해서 좀 그랬는데 올라가서 좋고요.
SOS says, you know, yesterday I was playing backstage the whole time on the Esports Plus channel. I was really eager to come out and play in front of such a passionate crowd. And today when I entered that booth, I was a little bit scared I might drop off, but I'm so happy I could win in front of all of you. It's love for the StarCraft 2 fans from SOS. Now, we had the casters, Bitterdam, talking about a little bit of the mind games, and that's why I love both of these players, Bomber and SOS. They really like to play with their opponents' minds. We saw that in game 2 and 3, one from each. I want to see what SOS has to say about that.
저 이제 두 분 다 어떻게 보면 좀 심리전으로도 강한 선수신데 오늘도 정말 둘째 게임에도 그렇고 셋째 게임에도 서로 막 의료선 먼저 보냈다가 뭐 예언자 먼저 보냈다가 그렇게 심리전 하셨는데 그러면서 뭐 좀 그냥 재밌다 그렇게 생각하셨어요? 아니면 자꾸만 또 그러면 최진 선수 또 뭘 생각하고 있을까 좀 걱정되셨었나요?
우선 상대 선수 플레이보다는 제가 오늘 좀 컨트롤이 좀 안 되더라고요, 생각보다. 그래서 좀 그랬는데 그래도 이겼으니까 좋고. 그리고 아까 말 못했는데 백스테이지에서 게임 했잖아요. 그래서 제가 온지 팬분들이 모르셨을 수도 있을 것 같아가지고 저 왔으니까 이제 하나 좀 많이 해달라고.
Before he answered, he was like, hold on, I forgot. The reason I was really scared was because I was only backstage yesterday. I was scared that the fans might have forgotten that I was here at Blizzcon. But now that I'm standing here on stage, I really wish that you guys would continue to cheer for me the whole time and continue shouting SOS's name. This guy's hungry for you guys. But also talking about the game, SOS says, I was really worried today because my micro just wasn't as good as Bomber. That's what I thought. Bomber had way more control. He had better control of the units of the map, so I was a little bit scared. But again, glad I could win in the end 3-1 against Startail Bomber. Now, there's only one stage left for SOS if he wants to take that champion title of the whole year of 2013. And he might have to face two very strong players. It's either EG Jaedong or it's going to be Maru Prime. Let's see what he has to say and who he would rather face in the finals.
그러면 이제 결승전 상대는 아직 정해지진 않았지만 뭐 이재동 선수 아니면 조성주 선수인데 어느 선수를 더 만나고 싶으세요?
원래는 두 선수 다 상관없었지만 제가 8강, 4강에서 테란을 이기고 올라왔기 때문에 결승에서는 저그전을 해보고 싶어요.
Originally, I didn't really care which one I would have to meet in the finals. However, now that I've beaten a lot of Terrans, I'd love to play against the Zerg in the finals to take that title at Blizzcon 2013. Once again, this is Wounds Stars SOS, who really wants to hear you guys shout his name back to Marcus.
Thank you, Chobra, and SOS declares who he wants in the finals, and that's Jaedong. Of course, Jaedong versus Maru is coming up next, and we'll talk more about that in just a moment. But your closing remarks, and maybe more so, SOS moving on to the finals. What are your final thoughts on this game?
I think that SOS just kind of shows us that, yes, he's still the creative player and the innovative player he used to be. I think he's shown a new style, or at least a new breed of how to play Protoss versus Terran at this tournament. But not only that, he's backed it up by playing incredibly well, incredibly solid, which I think has been maybe a little bit of his flaw come Season 2 and Season 3 this year.
He also just won at least $45,000.
At least, yeah.
And he gets to play a series for $100,000, which, good for him. That's amazing. I liked his comment about saying he was worried that people had forgot about him backstage. He played, I think he played on the secondary stream like a couple times, but
yeah,
he played
Hero
he played
and
both
Pole,
games.
both
not on the main stream. So it's nice to see him come out here. I mean, again, everyone except for Todd, I guess, was like, well, Bomber's the favorite. Bomber should win it. And Bomber has that big fan base with Startail and the awesome Red Bull backing, and just he's been a big fan. He's got a lot of fans here. But it's cool seeing SOS make a name for himself.
Yep.
Really cool.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break in just a second. Of course, coming up next, the second semifinal, Jaedong versus Maru. But first, let's send it back to the main stage and hear from Paul.
Thanks very much, Marcus. We'll check in with the guys for predictions and what have you on our second semi-final very shortly. Don't forget, you can interact with us via #WCS and #BlizzCon. We are down to just 3 players, appropriately enough. 1 Protoss, 1 Terran, 1 Zerg. The semi-finals are next, but I think I might have found my favorite sign in the audience. Top dog!
The 2013 WCS StarCraft 2 semifinals.
This is Kerrigan. We've neutralized the Protoss, but there's a wave of Zerg advancing on this position. We need immediate
Brought to you by Bobby Kodak's Cock.
evac.
Belay that order. We're moving out.
What? You're not just gonna leave us.
All ships prepare to move away from Tarsonis on my mark.
Boys, how about that evac?
Damn you, Arcturus. Don't do this.
It's done. Helmsman, signal the fleet and take us out of orbit. Now.
Commander. Jim? What the hell's going on up there?
This was the year Heart of the Swarm came out, right? So they explained how Kerrigan got left behind and turned into the Queen of Blades and became the Heart of the Swarm. Lings didn't want to eat her though. They wanted a new mommy.
I swore to victory. Job's finished.
I have laid the keys to the door.
Battle Tag, you will receive a 25% increase in experience gain.
give the edge to Maru.
Just called me out on the
Back to the desk. How about you?
Hey. Hello, Marcus. Actually, I didn't expect you to call me out first, so I was like, all right.
Match Maru. Matchup.
We're going to get our predictions and our arguments from our moderating. Here's DJ Wheat.
Thank you, Paul. And they gave you the good news. It comes with a heavy heart that I have to give you the bad news. Artosis will be retiring from StarCraft 2 to continue his professional Hearthstone career. So that's just kidding. All right, but congratulations to Artosis as he is taking it all around.
Someone was starting to boo you.
No, they're starting to boo Artosis for losing his passion, man. Okay, we can't have two of those guys up there. Ladies and gentlemen, the second semi-final of today, Jaedong versus Maru. We are moments away from going into this matchup. The number 7 seed Maru versus the number 3 seed Jaedong. And it was SOS who made it to the finals and said, I want to fight Jaedong in the finals. Of course, he's got to get through Maru, the youngin', the superstar, if you will, who shows very little emotion, little care, but really wants to win. Guys, looking forward to talk about this matchup. Who wants to kick us off? Roddy, welcome back to the desk. How about you?
Hey. Hello, Marcus. Actually, I didn't expect you to call me out first, so I was like, all right, Jeff, take it away. I'm going to listen to Jeff being funny again and stuff, and that's normally like that
That's like the commentator's trick of the trade, where you say something which doesn't really mean anything to buy some time to know what you're going to say. And I just hope him also, please.
And you just called me out on the spot.
I did.
Damn it, Sean. Yeah. I think it's going to be a super cool semifinals. Obviously very hyped. I mean, both these players are fantastic. Earlier today, someone mentioned that they think that Maru's weakest matchup is TVZ. I actually think he's fantastic in TVZ. I've seen him play some great Terran versus Zerg games. But, you know, maybe I'm wrong.
You just disagree with Day 9, so thank you for coming up to the desk.
Okay, that's it. We'll see you later.
Security.
So, I don't know. I think
we'll
it's going to be
another one. Another guest, please.
See you later. Are fantastic. Yeah. I think it's going to be a super cool semifinals. Obviously very hyped. I mean, both these players are fantastic. Earlier today, someone mentioned that they think that Maru's weakest matchup is TVZ. I actually think he's fantastic in TVZ. I've seen him play some great Terran versus Zerg games. But, you know, maybe I'm wrong.
You just disagree with Day 9, so thank you for coming up to the desk.
Okay, that's it. We'll see you later.
Security.
So, I don't know. I think
we'll
it's going to be
another one.
Close.
Another guest, please. Thank you.
Close, fun, exciting.
Security.
So, I don't know. I think
we'll
it's going to be
another one.
Close.
Another guest, please. Thank you.
Close, fun, exciting.
TVZ for Maru is 52%. TVZ for Jaedong is 64%.
Yeah, but Maru has been playing in WCS Korea and Jaedong in America. And with all due respect.
Oh,
America's
I agree. Yes, Kevin? Well, what are you saying?
With all due respect. I'll let my nodding do the talking for me, you know what I mean?
Over here, Todd, in control. Your thoughts? Jaedong versus Maru.
I'm not super familiar with Maru's Terran versus Zerg, and by that I mean I haven't seen many games at all from him in this matchup, but the last few ones I saw, I thought he was pretty good in it. And like Kevin said, he's been playing the most difficult region out of the 3, losing to somebody like Solky or any top Zergs in Korea would not particularly mean you're bad in the matchup, just that you have a hard time versus this guy. So here versus Jaedong, I would definitely give the edge to Maru a little bit, but Jaedong has just been playing so well this tournament. I'm starting to believe that this might be his first major win here.
So you're drinking the In Control Kool-Aid is what you're saying?
I mean,
I think it's got a brand name, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I mean, I think this whole time In Control has been saying, I believe. And
you've been drinking the Monster as well, then.
Todd, please continue.
What an intelligent thing to say.
Okay, so my head says probably Maru, but my heart says Jaedong. I might follow my heart this time.
What does your dong say?
My dong says Jaedong.
His dong says Jaedong!
Let's talk about what Maru has to do and what Jaedong has to do. You know, we had some insight into Jaedong's his approach to ZVT. Maru, I'd love to hear, you know, Paula, from you, what you think the most effective way to just destroy Jaedong would be for Maru.
I think Jaedong has a couple of weaknesses when it comes to his Zerg versus Terran. Sometimes I think he makes counterattacks which don't work because using the playstyle that he uses, Jaedong, a lot of Zerg players will just wait until the attack comes and then look to crush it all as one. What Jaedong does very often is make that split decision to decide to throw units for the counterattack. Sometimes that doesn't work because it is very, very difficult to weigh it up if it will work or not. If Moro is making sure that he has defenses, whether it be turrets, bunkers full of Marines, and a mine or two left behind, and just kind of cover any form of counterattacks, I really think that could be a downside to Jaedong's play, because I can't remember exactly who it was. I think it was Bomber. He did a lot against that in the Season 2 finals, and every single time it didn't work, and his trades were very cost inefficient.
Well, and I think that's a series worth talking about, right? Because, you know, certainly trying to win that first championship, looking to go in there, people hoping, well, at least it's a longer series, but the 4-0 made it look like a little bit of a struggle versus Terran. Of course, there's clashing styles as well, but would you agree with what Apollo says as far as what Maru needs to do?
Well, absolutely, and I think it was Polt that did it to him even the season before that. Like, he played phenomenally, got to that final, and then all of a sudden it was a 3-0, 4-0 between Bomber and Polt, and they weren't close. It was a really hard series to watch for Jaedong fans. It kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, where I feel like when Jaedong he takes those risks, and counterattacks are a risk. It's basically you saying, you're out mid-map, you're looking to attack me. Based on that, I'm going to actually attack you as opposed to defend. And we all know Zerg doesn't have incredible stacked defenses, so that's not really what he's relying on. He's relying on reactionary banelings, miscontrol, Marines walking on creep and getting bopped, whereas otherwise the Terran player would have full control of those units because there's not a counterattack happening, and perhaps they destroy the army and then win the game. So when Jaedong's able to do that and get the reaction he wants because he's hitting at the right time, he's got the information so that it's not like the army's approaching as natural, but rather it's mid-map. These are the kinds of things, these are the little things you have to look for to see a successful Jaedong series, because again, I need to remind people, he's not that soul-crushing, just overwhelming force of like, there's creep hitting the natural at minute 9. You know, he doesn't have 46 Mutalists where everybody else has 23. He's not like that. Right. He's a very much so micro risk series kind of guy. He wants to get in their head and he wants to come out on top because that's what he needs to do to win.
But I think that's the real key to Jaedong's success, I think, with his victories in every single time, because if you do not play that style, let's say he makes the right decision every single time, then he prevents players like Innovation, who all throughout their attacks are basically trading. And when you've been trading, they're always bringing more and more and more and more, and it will never stop. So if Jaedong's able to pull it off successfully, that can also be to his benefit too, because that you have to prevent the Terran player from taking the third easily and securing it. You must never really allow them, or I guess you're going to have to eventually, but you've got to slow them down from taking the 4th and the 5th. These are very important moves.
All right, I know there's much more to be said about this matchup, but the players are ready, and I know that the entire Blizzcon Convention Center here at the Convention Center is ready as well. So let's send it to the main stage to introduce our players for semifinal number 2.
Thanks very much, gents. We'll hear from them again after the match for their thoughts on Maru versus Jaedong. Confident? Sure. Brash? Possibly. Arrogant? Maybe. He's a 16-year-old who first played at the age of just 13. But this is the road to the semi-final of Maru Prime. Ladies and gentlemen, the WCS Korea Season 2 champion representing Prime, Maru!
Next match we've got coming up, it's Maru versus MC.
I've read interviews of him, I heard him in interviews. I already know I'm the best Terran, so at this point I'm just trying to win the tournament.
Maru is just microing so well now, dodging all the storms, just on the edge of the storm line, and when does land, he just moves immediately out of it here. As we can see on the mini-map, this is just power play for Maru. 4th command center, unit streaming across, and MC may be broken here day 9.
MC's just getting wrecked. He has to tap out. GG, Maru takes the series to 1-0. The last thing he's gonna see is that it's Blink. He's moved everything to the bottom. He's in the wrong place at the wrong time, blinking up into the main base.
This is the games I want to watch, too, with day 9 casting and stuff. Can't find those ones.
SCDs are going to be coming up, and SCD, oh, the time warp at the ramp.
Absolutely wonderful play here from the boss toss.
The Colossus has not begun to take damage yet. The Blink Stalkers, oh no, the Colossus getting surrounded, gets taken out. Maru has shut MC down at the front. The early Stargate pressure not going to be enough, and MC is looking close to falling. The boss toss, who came in as the most successful SC2 player of all time, is eliminated. Maru proves his win in Season 2 was not a fluke.
We're here to cover Duck Duck versus Mora to really find out how the hell he went through innovation, and can he do it against a Season 2 WCS career champion. And Moro, has he finally broken through?
I think he has. GG. Wow, fantastic game coming out of both these players, Apollo.
And as we can see, the Zealots being kited by the Marauders with their concussive shells, being slowed down, and only a hand.
I want to watch these games. I don't want spoilers. I mean, I know how it ends, but...
Find out if we, I wind up starting a family after this match. Whirlwind is the downvote from Maru. What do you make of that, Nick?
Hey, the Plot Brothers!
What's up, guys? It's Tasteless and Day 9 here. We're at the WCS Global Finals here in Los
Oh shit, dude. The plot's thickened, dude. There they are, dude. I don't know if I've ever seen them cast together. I think I was there in the crowd this day.
Angeles at Blizzcon 2013, and this has been overall such a crazy event. Artosis just won the Hearthstone tournament.
I know,
I can't believe it's awesome.
It's
Artosis won that year? Wow, that's crazy.
the first pro gamer who is on the analysis and casting team today.
That's right.
Professional Hearthstone player, Artosis, winning the hearts one RNG at a time.
Winning the hearts. So we got a really interesting matchup today here. We got Jaedong. He doesn't need much of an introduction, but he's a legend. He's lived through the ages of esports. I know esports is a pretty young thing.
Yeah.
But he's been around from the beginning, and he's still here. We got Maru, who's so young and super new. Again, it's the old versus the new here.
Yeah, so, I mean, the map downvote going to be an interesting choice. Pretty much everyone always downvotes Polar Knight. We've also been seeing that there's a marriage proposal to the right. We'll have to find out if we, I wind up starting a family after this match. Whirlwind is the downvote from Maru. What do you make of that, Nick?
I'm not shocked because Jaedong is like so good on these big maps as any Zerg is, and Jaedong taking out Polar Knight. Polar Knight's kind of a wonky map in general.
Smart decision.
Now both these guys are super good at engaging, so I feel like a lot of the way the early game can pan out in the TVZ is going to be one of the factors in how they select the maps here. A Derelict Watcher going to be first here. Now over to Maru.
Fantastic choice, Derelict Watcher, a big open map with lots of counterattack routes, just like Jaedong loves. Akalon Waves from Maru, the correct answer in my eyes.
Yeah, it makes
Shuts
sense.
down the counters.
Yeah, he can actually turtle up and go into late game on that map easily. Belshir, Vestige here.
Wow, now that's an odd choice given what we've normally been seeing out of Terran players, that TVZ, very, very strong for all Terran players on Belshir Vestige. I mean, Frost and Yunsu going to be maps 4 and 5 makes sense, but I really think that map number 3 is going to be the critical match.
I got to agree with you, Sean. And it looks like it's time, guys. Let's get hype. Jaedong versus Maru. We are so close to crowning the world champion.
Oh gosh, we were talking about this.
Yo, what's up, Alexa? Alexa Clark, how you doing?
When the hype videos were playing, we always want to count out Maru. You always want to count him out.
I've been casting him. Okay, first of all, so for Maru's super young. I think he started playing StarCraft when he was like 11. I believe he started like competitively, professionally at 11. And I actually don't have this information. I want to say he's 16 now.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, 16. Yeah, I guess you got confirmation it is 16. But I was casting this kid for years in Korea, and I sort of got used to counting him out because I would just see him lose frequently, and
Yeah, he looked like a weak Marine King Prime.
Right. He was actually in his first GSL at 13, and he was good. He was definitely like a prime Terran, but I never really thought he would get to where he is now, and I don't know if anybody can stop this kid. When you're in Korea, there's compulsory military service for 2 years, and usually that messes up most pro gamer careers because they have to stop playing and practicing, and we don't see pro gamers come back from their military career and do very well. But when you're this young, like Maru, I mean, doesn't have to go to the military for like years and years and years and years. So He's got crazy potential. WCS Global Rank 7, a very deadly player.
You know, the 52% really doesn't show what his form is in the Terran versus Zerg matchup. I do, though, think that it is his weakest in terms of his in-game performance.
Yeah.
He has one tool at his disposal to be able to win this series, and that is his, probably bar none, top 3 Marine Marauder control.
Yeah, you know, he wins in engagements. He makes me, I feel like he's Marine King 2.0. You know, we'd see Marine King engage a lot. And oftentimes, he probably shouldn't be engaging in that moment, but his control's so good, he wins anyways.
Yeah.
I feel like Maru is an improved version of that, where he pretty much only engages when he should, or when it's going to be even, and he always comes out on top. So better, you know, engagement, decision-making. Over here, we got Jaedong.
Yeah, Jaedong, I mean, I think that his Zerg versus Terran, once upon a time, his weakest matchup, we saw him 0-4 versus Pult, 0-4 versus Bomber.
I wonder what the age difference is between Jaedong and Maru. See how this goes. It looks like he's like 10 years older at least or something.
Season 2, and he's pulled it back and made it one of his just unbelievable strengths. And we saw that in Season 2, Jaedong going into WCS Season 2 was weak at Zerg vs Protoss, but focused on that and went undefeated in that matchup. I'm really expecting the same story here versus Terran. He's 3-0'd MVP and made it look easy. He is the favorite going into this series.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. He is definitely the favorite. Maru's really kind of had a rise to power, I would say, over the last maybe like 6 to 9 months or so here, where he's really been pretty dominant. But if you look at raw experience, which I think is crucial, especially in a live event with a massive audience, whether it's here in the convention hall or, you know, just online watching, experience helps out a lot. So that's something you got to keep in mind. Our map is going to be Derelict Watcher.
Interesting to note, heavily vetoed during Seasons 1 and 2. That's the most important thing to note. Most players were favoring the more standard-looking maps, the Whirlwinds, the Belshir Vestiges, but here, Derelict Watcher. Though it is a very open map, we've seen Terrans be able to figure out how to conquer these positions, and the biggest struggle for Zerg is, how do you secure the 4th base? There's 2 big locations to choose as a 4th, but how do you defend it? What is going to be the big late game composition? And the interesting thing to note about Jaedong is that, you know, like all Zergs, he's going to go Ling, Baneling, Muta, but what you'll see is that he builds up lots of Banelings earlier, before the attack begins to move out. And if you do attack, he'll use them for defense like every other Zerg, but if you don't, he sets up flanks, he sets up counterattacks, he places burrowed Banelings everywhere. Jaedong really is stretching the small units to the brink of their efficiency.
Yeah, he's able to eke out a lot of damage and get a lot of just overall map security with a very small amount. We are moments away from starting this game.
Wow.
Your prediction, Sean, going into this match?
Honestly, I'm leaning to 3-1 for Jaedong. But, you know, we were saying before, Maru is the easiest player to count out.
Yeah, at least for us, I'm just used to, you know, not expecting him to win. But over this past few months, I have to say, you never count Maru out. I think it's going to be 3-2. I don't know which way. I'm leaning a little bit towards Jaedong, but you never know. All right, guys, it looks like our map is loading up. So let's get noisy in here at Blizzcon 2013 here in the WCS Global Final. Maru, our Terran, Jaedong, our Zerg. The map is now loaded up. Introducing our players over here in the upper right at the young age of 16, a prodigy. Give it up for Maru.
Playing against Maru Prime, it's no secret that he's the crowd favorite. He has 4 second-place finishes, looking for a first place at Blizzcon today. Jaedong!
Massive amount of support here for Jaedong.
And it's hard not to. He just seems to know. Oh, he's going for a 10 pool. This is brilliant. We've seen Maru go for, in all matchups, command center first, over 50% of the time.
Yeah.
And this is generally considered a map where it's risky to do that. You probably don't want to be doing that, but you know what? Most Zergs are going for that really fast. Oh my god. Oh my god, he hasn't built a barracks yet. Most Zergs are going hatch first on this map. Where's it going to be? I've seen the money get spent.
Oh my god, is he going to... Wait. Hold on, we're watching Maru's Minerals build up here. You know, there's a point in time where if it gets high enough, we just know he's going to make a command center. It's in the 200s now. This
Oh my
is
God.
really bad right now. Jaedong might just hard counter Maru.
Oh my God, in game number one, Jaedong opening up the series with the metagame read. Jaedong is scouting for any proxy.
God,
he knows
he's going to make a command center.
Oh, there it is. He's moving down. Is he going to do it at the bottom of the ramp?
Low ground,
It's going to be a low ground command center.
Worst possible move here to open up.
Oh my God, Tasteless,
Okay,
this
wait,
is...
I think he realizes it.
No, what? No,
he's trying to
command
block.
center on low
He's
ground.
trying to block the drone. Trying to block the drone here from making the hatchery. Jaedong, now he knows.
Jaedong needs to turn around
don't
and head
chase
up.
that. All right, he's going towards the main now.
And Jaedong has a drone in the main base. He's going to be trying to block this front for as long as possible. And Maru, oh my God, Maru is forced to throw down barracks now at 16 supply. Maru is light years behind.
Okay, so the Lings are coming up here. It's going to be very difficult to actually hold this attack here. He's going to have the SCVs on the right, or the left side, I should say, of the barracks and the depot. The drone is still going to be used to harass here. Every single unit counts. He's drawing SCVs away. The barracks at half health. The Lings are now getting to the entrance.
And the expansion also going down. Maru opting to throw down a command center of his own. He needs to stay alive during this attack, but that pesky drone still in the main base. Jaedong still dodging left and right. The depot at the left is at 250 hit points.
Now that SCV never slid outside of the side of the barracks there, so he's never able to take that out. More Lings are coming up here. I don't know how much more surface area they're going to get.
Can really only get about 3 picking away at each one of those depots. Marina's still not out yet. And I mean, Jaedong in complete command of this opening sequence.
But at the same time, I gotta say, you need to hand it to Maru. He actually held this. Now he's probably gonna pull away each Ling as it gets injured here.
There it is. He's down to 1 HP, keeping those SCVs off mining. I mean, SCVs mine at 40 minerals a minute, so if he can just get 2 or 3 extra minutes of time of those being off, those are full barracks that won't be placed down. And look at this, Jaedong with a sick control room. Remember that drone in the main? Well, it's an extractor now, so this funnels Maru down to an extremely small set of options.
It's beautiful the way that Jaedong is limiting each of Maru's options. Coming up here again because, you know, he has a Marine back there attacking that extractor. He wants to have the Marines protecting the depot as much as possible. So many little steps here Jaedong is taking to get Maru a little bit more behind.
What a move. The game has pulled back into more of a standard look, and Jaedong appears to be setting himself up in the same way that he normally likes.
But I have to, you know, Maru is handling this perfectly. The 3 command center inside the main is basically your best bet here. Now Maru coming out here and actually engaging these Lings and putting one of these CCs over here onto the low ground. Maru can still try to maneuver back from this, but it's going to be tricky. As Jaedong does not make any mistakes, it's going to come down to Maru's control to win this.
Yeah, but you know, Jaedong knows that this is the way that Maru has to play in this spot. There's no gas geyser going down. Hell.
Yo, what up, Topher? Why are you here? I don't know, dude. Why are any of us here? Thanks for stopping by.
Aliens that arrive are going to be coming late, and there's really 1 of 2 options. Either Maru plays very, very awkwardly by going for Hellion and then for the sort of follow-ups, or he goes for this large Marine play. Either way, guess what's not going to be coming up for a long time? Stim. Jaedong has the freedom to expand, to tech. Maru has slow Marines versus slow Lings, and Jaedong is going to be able to pick these up too.
All right, he takes out these Marines now, giving Jaedong map control. Jaedong tried to call his bluff, saying perhaps my opponent is droning a little bit harder. Maybe I could put some pressure on. Jaedong already shutting that down. These Lings barreling towards the entrance of Maru's expansion. Going to take this Ling out before getting up there. And it looks like he's going to get a good surround. This is getting worse and worse for Maru.
Oh my God, Jaedong not even going to give Maru a second to relax. And it looks like Jaedong is hinting that the top of the main is where he's interested. But he's going to also get that scout. Was he able to see that there's those extra barracks up on the high ground? Yes, he sees the barracks. He sees everything that Maru's doing. This could not be a worse game 1 for Maru.
Yeah, the Lings in the back.
Have you played much StarCraft or anything? It's a good game. This was the golden age of StarCraft, and got me some good bud here. I just bought. Might be a little too strong though, but I'm gonna break up a bowl.
Make mining not a possibility. Maru now scanning, trying to get any kind of read and not getting anything. You know, Lings are the most cost-effective unit in situations like this. He's just going to wait and see if any SCVs come up, and then when they do, watch. They'll run in here, target down one. Morrow again getting into a worse and worse start now, attacking with the SCVs, which is a shocking play there. Going into first person now, we can see Jaedong controlling so well inside his base, macro, and then bam, right back to those lanes that he's controlling.
This is what makes Jaedong so exceptional, his hand speed, and he's utilizing it brilliantly. Total number of workers killed off is at 8 for Jaedong, and these aren't even harassment units. He's getting more Marines as well. I mean, look at the devastating damage that we've been seeing out of Jaedong right now. He's picked off that initial pack of 5 Marines, 3 or so more up at the front. Worker supply heavily favors Jaedong. Income favors Jaedong. He has such a lead, but I mean, how does Maru come out of a situation like this?
Well, you know, with the double eBay here, you can tell that Maru is very interested in going into the late game. And what concerns me is that Jaedong should be able to get the 4th base while these upgrades are coming. Yep. Jaedong can actually expand at a pretty rapid rate here.
Yeah, I expect a 3rd base, excuse me, a 4th, and probably a 5th, both by 12 minutes. At the very least, a 5th hatch is a macro hatch in the main. I mean, Jaedong has complete freedom, and we're seeing that he's hinting that he wants to take those bases. There's no geysers at his expansion. He's only just now adding on those geysers, which means he has plenty of drones focused on minerals. His creep spread is looking good, and Maru's doing a very ballsy move that I think Jaedong is going to shut down again, taking the 3rd.
Yeah, I'm at this point in time, I think Maru is starting to realize he's just out of options. I mean, it might not be the safest move, but there's not much else he can do. He's going to have to lift this up. Now, bear in mind, that's not making SCVs when it's in the air.
Yep.
And he's going to go for Banelings here. Is that CC still in the air? Did he just land that to land a mule somewhere else?
Oh,
yeah, he just landed it to land a mule, but now he is expanding.
God.
This is really bad. This base is so exposed right now.
A heinous misplay from Maru. He's going to try to assault this. The Zerglings alone can take it out, but you know what? Jaedong says, hey, that is a fresh, open, juicy main. Let's take that one down. Storm in the front. See you later, bunker. Zerglings assault the main. Stim only just now finishing. Banelings also continue to pour in.
Banelings now intercepting these Marines. But really doing a nice job back there was Maru shooting down some of them, but there just might be too many links. There's actually a second group of links coming up here now, and all these Marines pretty badly bruised. I believe he's warping, or morphing, I should say, more Banelings. No, he's not. He's going to just go ahead and just continue to attack, move into here.
Smart move. He's linging Maru to death, and this will reduce Maru's Marine count tremendously. And then what does that mean? Maru can't aggress. Maru can't defend his 3rd base, and when the Mutalisks show up, then Jaedong will only have a matter of time before he's forced Terran all the way back. 3rd base has landed for Maru. We see a macro hatch also en route for Jaedong, but how does Maru come back from this?
You know, this is getting worse and worse and worse. At any moment, Jaedong can opt to just go to that 3rd base, and that's what he's going to do right now. More Banelings coming in here, and Aspire on the way here as well.
Jaedong's got to be careful, though. He's only just now gotten the geysers at his 3rd base, and that can put him way far behind. But we do see drones beginning to move out, thinking about taking those extra expansions. Maru clearly can't land a 3rd. Maru still has to deal with this threat.
All right, he's coming up here now. The wall in is not closed up. And this actually might be the killing blow here. This is too many Banelings. And now so many SCVs are going to be taken out.
Perfect execution by Jaedong. Back to back to back. Smackdown plays. Puke and creep over at the 3rd base.
Oh, but he did land the command center in time, but I don't think that's going to help that much more. Supplies 50 to 95. Jaedong nearly doubling his opponent. And there's probably going to be more Banelings morphed in over here. Jaedong not taking a 4th. He's staying aggro on this.
This is just, I mean, sure, it might make sense from Jaedong's, or from the strategic perspective. Jaedong went for the 10 pool. Maru walked into the play, and ever since then, Jaedong has been battering Maru back down. But think about the psychological impact of that in a best of 5.
Yeah, for sure.
In game 1, Maru gets shut down, gets busted with just Speedlings, gets busted with Banelings, gets his 3rd busted 3 times already. And this is his first push, the first attempt. Zerglings counterattacking. I mean, this is so psychologically difficult to come back from.
Now, here's the problem is, yes, he can pick up here in these medevacs. But I was about to say that, yeah, they're immune to sound, and that's it. GG. Beautiful play there. Yeah, Jaedong beat me to it. I was saying, it's too bad. Smedevac's moving out. Yeah, he could pick up and avoid Lings and Banelings, but we're at the point in the game where units can come out, and that's exactly what happened. Maru's shut down, and I really like what you said back there, Sean, that this is a really bad way to start a best of 5.
Yes.
It's not like you were up 2 games, and then in game 3, this happened and you lost. I mean, essentially, is Jaedong's telling Maru, I know exactly how you play, and I'm just going to counter it.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
and, you know, just one more thing. I really feel like, you know, with Maru being somebody who's command centers first so much, that's going to make it difficult for him to want to command center more in the next few games, right?
Oh, yeah. And I mean, Maru then said, well, let me cut a few extra corners later on. And normally it's almost like one of those formal things, you know, like, you know, take 10 paces away and then turn around and shoot. You know, it's like, okay, you busted me. Then I should be able to take my third base safely, and everything should be fine. No,
right.
Jaedong busts in there and then sends Lings and Banelings in. I mean, in Maru's shoes, even someone who is as calm, as confident, as stoic as Maru, you can see him feeling the tension.
Yeah, and I don't think Maru's definitely never played against an audience this massive before, so a frustrating moment. Next map is going to be Akalon Wastes. The countdown has now started, and this is going to be game number 2 here. Are you guys having fun? At the WCS Global Finals, Maru against Jaedong.
This is a key map. Maru's hoping to push it, to tie it up, to get to Belshir Vestige, one of his highest win rate maps. That phenomenal marine control. Haven't even gotten the chance to see it yet. Up in the top left-hand corner, one of the youngest StarCraft champions of all time and the youngest player at Blizzcon 2013. Give a cheer for Maru Prime! And in that moment, you even saw his hands so cold, adrenaline pressure kicking in.
Breathing on the hands to heat him up. Over here in the bottom right, as far as I can tell from where I'm hearing in the audience, the fan favorite. Give it up for Jaedong.
You know, at the caster desk here, we have soundproofing headphones, you know, so that Nick and I can hear each other as we talk. But when the crowd cheers for Jaedong, it still
like that,
erupts into our headsets.
My water was vibrating like Jurassic Park. Like, that was pretty sick. Okay, so we have the drone just going to move out here. It looks like he wants to check and see if there's any hidden barracks. It's not uncommon if you get cheese in one game and lose to try to cheese in the next game.
Yeah, that's one of those weird human subconscious moves. Oh, that was a pretty good move. I'm going to cheese too. I like that. But I think that Maru is doing the perfect opening on this map for what he saw in the last game.
Yeah.
He's going Reaper, Expand, common on this map anyways, but here, Maru gets to protect himself against cheeses. Jaedong's scout is going to be relatively fruitless. I mean, there's really only one clear thing that can be happening at this point in time. So Jaedong's lost a little bit of mining time. And right now, Jaedong has an important question coming up. Which third does he take, and how does he set that up?
Yeah, this map, if we can just kind of highlight the architecture of this map for a second, it is a map that is very easy to just expand on, to turtle, to defend, and to go into the late game. So we tend to see some of the longest StarCraft 2 games on this map.
And what's interesting about it is that, like you say, with that turtling, Terran gets up to 4 bases pretty easily, which is very uncommon in Terran vs. Zerg unless it's a really epic game. Normally, when the Terran takes the 4th, it's kind of a formality. The Terran's already won when he's in that position. But here, a Terran who's pretty far behind can still establish a safe 4th.
That's absolutely true. The upper right expansions and bottom left expansions don't normally end up being taken for long periods of time because it's hard to hold them. But regardless, we should be going deep into late game unless one player elects to do something really crazy, which we have seen a lot from Zergs at times.
Definitely.
Because the Terrans, you know, getting a little bit too greedy. I don't know if Jaedong's going to do it this time. Reaper play here from Maru, and this is a smart move because he can take out the Zerglings that are on the field. He can harass, he can scout, and this is going to allow Maru, unless he loses this Reaper, to know exactly what's going on at any point in time, and he can just counter that, get into a healthy position, and then get to where he wants to be, which is where he can have all those Marine engagements.
Well, Jaedong doing the smart thing, doing the build, and then cancel in a little bit on the Geyser. Always a very strong play. keeping the drones alive as long as possible. And this is just one Reaper that's killed 2 Lings, and now, ooh, a drone. That's actually a very nice game by Maru.
And then we have one Reaper here to defend. Now, Maru needs to actually be careful.
Oh, no. Oh, Maru.
That screen.
Oh, my God.
That screen can't be 2 places at once. That's why you got to be fast in StarCraft. He took out the Reaper. Now the SCV can't finish the command center. That was a very quick little mistake that actually has a huge impact right now, because the longer that command center is not done, is he going to get this SCV? He's actually zoning out the SCV with the Lings right now, so it can't get back to the command center.
Oh, Nick, that was 30 seconds, almost 45 seconds. That's 2 SCVs that Maru's never going to be able to build. That's a late orbital command, and that's going to botch the flood of Barracks timing. We see the Zerglings there, doing a little scouting. I do want to come back to that Barracks timing note, because, you know, losing money and getting delay, that's just sort of amorphously bad. But why? The Terran player needs a lot of money to throw down 4 Barracks and go into big Marine production.
Right.
Because of that delay, it's going to be at about another minute before the Terran can get powered up. And that means the push is going to come out late. Jaedong's Mutalisks are going to be able to push Maru back longer. So now Maru, the pressure's on him. He's got to work super hard to batter Jaedong back with these Hellions.
Yeah, he needs to do something to kind of regain control here. He does have the Reaper and the 2 Hellions, as you said. It's going to be tricky, though. You know, the Lings now with speed, he might be able to pin them against the wall. He does.
Oh, what a micro move there by Maru.
Yeah, that was nice, actually splitting them off, too. He had the Reaper go one direction, the Hellions go the other. And now he does get out. If he had gotten cornered there, that would have been a disaster.
Now, what is the answer from Maru? Well, it looks like he's saying, you know, if you've delayed my Barracks, I'm just going to accept that. He's building so many Hellions. Normally you stop at 4 to 6 in that range. He's built all the way up to 7. And is going to, looks like being quite aggressive coming up.
Okay, the Hellions are moving out again here, actually splitting up. And the Overlord placement here by Jaedong, if we could just get a shot of that. Look how he's spreading the Overlords out on this corner area of the map. And actually, for instance, hugging them over these big cavities where the Marines can't get under. He wants to make absolutely sure that he's going to see every single drop that's going to come in here.
I think Maru doesn't realize that there's Lings counterattacking up into the main base, and they're just going to waltz straight up to the high ground. Oh, no. But still, the natural expansion is under threat. Jaedong loves these counterattacks with small, basic units thus far. Only 3 SCVs have been killed off, but the Marines don't manage to make it back.
His Ling zoning is so sick, he just blocked that off.
Right.
From Marines from getting inside that bunker. So there's more Lings parked outside here.
Oh my God. Jaedong isn't teching. He's just built.
Wait. He got spotted. And he needs to get these Lings out of here. And yeah, he is just continuing to make Lings. He might try to do a bust here.
Don't do it, Maru. Maru's about to get surrounded.
It's going to be, he might be able to trap these Hellions. These Hellions are way out of position.
Does he know? It looks like Jaedong is just,
oh my God. Oh my God.
And the Barracks flood is late due to the delay.
The Hellions are coming back.
They're coming back.
I don't know if they're going to get there in time.
Oh, but Jaedong rides out to meet them. Doesn't matter how good your kiting is, the Ling numbers are just a little bit too big. And here comes Jaedong streaming in with Banelings. Maru's control, sickeningly good, but the numbers are just too big.
And here come the Banelings now, barreling towards the entrance. Jaedong does not want this to go to the late game.
Unbelievable reads. Jaedong storms the front, the reactors fall, and it looks like the Marines stim. There's not enough. Jaedong, will he get a clean 2-0? Maru's control is his only hope now.
Maru in a lot of trouble. The Zerg army can park over the production facilities, which means anything that spawns out of there insta-dies. And I think we are probably going to see Maru tap out momentarily here and push us into game number 3. It is physically impossible to recover.
Moving in, connecting with anything, it doesn't even matter. The entire army, 1 medevac, 3 Marines, and a pair of Hellions.
Lings, they don't even have to get a good angle here. He's actually morphing Banelings literally next to the barracks.
Oh, there the Banelings roll up to the top. See you later, remaining
Maru
army.
is at 12 supply now.
GG! Undefeated thus far in the Zerg vs. Terran matchup at this tournament. 3-0 against MVP, 2-0 against Maru, 1 game away from his 5th major finals appearance in 2013.
What's up with Jaedong, man? This guy's like in a hurry to finish up this tournament and win. It's like he's got to catch a movie later tonight. I can't believe how brutal these games are. I actually thought this was going to be much closer. We're going to go into game number 3 here, but Maru has been rocked so far.
And you know, we talked about this at the very start of the series. The key map is map 3 in this series. Belshir Vestige. Jaedong struggles on this map. It's tighter. There's not as many counterattack paths. Terran's attacks are very easy to zone mute as Lings, Banelings alike. So Maru needs a win on this map, but the pressure's on. He's lost to Big Bus, which is Ling Baneling 2 games in a row now.
I wonder if he's going to go for a similar build to the last game again. He is really in control of, like, even into the first 2 minutes of the game, Jaedong's already, roughing up Maru. So we do have an early drone scout here. I don't think we're going to see command center first from Maru for the rest of the series. I mean, assuming that, let's say Maru keeps on winning, I still don't think he's going to do it. Jaedong seems to really be okay with just aggressive play.
And I want to come back to what we saw last game, the delay of that command center, the little subtle move sending 4 Lings off, how Jaedong's able to exploit that with the follow-up attacks, and the Marine numbers were just not there because of the disruption Jaedong caused early. And disruption is what Jaedong's game plans always revolve around. Even this little drone, it's causing an extra SCV to get pulled off. It's delaying the Reaper just a little bit, and we're seeing Jaedong sneak extra drones back home in his main.
Jaedong's harass is very Brood War-esque. He's just really good at having one worker inside your base do so much damage, be such a nuisance.
Yeah.
Which was, I think a little bit of a bigger theme in Brood War, but he's kind of brought that here in StarCraft 2, was that, the one worker just, really being annoying and harassing and scouting and just interfering with everything you're trying to do.
And it's that exact sort of thing that we see so uncommonly in StarCraft 2. I mean, most of the time it's, again, take 10 paces and then shoot. Players tend to follow along paths.
It's that tacit agreement of, well, I mean, we should probably play into the late game,
my death ball versus your death ball Tuesday.
Yeah, I have 1 to 2 cheeses perhaps stored into this best of 5, but so far, Jaedong just really aggressive. Now we do have the Reaper build coming again here from Maru, which is not really surprising at all. I mean, he really has to figure out exactly what Jaedong's doing in this series if he's going to be ahead, and he just goes into command center after that. So this is the quickest way he can expand while still, not taking a huge risk.
Now in this position, we're seeing a much calmer Reaper. It's just going to shoot a larva, okay? It's not going to try to find drones or Zerglings. It's not going to try to step into some dangerous micro situation. It's just going to make sure it has a retreat path. And I think that's very wise for Maru. He's also gotten the second Reaper and is instead also heading to join up with it. He sees where the Lings are.
Well, think about this. I mean, that last Reaper that you lost in game 2, that was when the game started to get out of control.
Yes.
So it definitely wants to be safe this time around. Now, note that Jaedong, if we can get a shot of these Lings here in the bottom left, just a little bit left here.
In the peninsula between
it's in between the Zerg second and the Zerg main, and there are Lings there. But he wants to see if that Reaper, when it's coming up in there, if he can actually get them, because that's a really odd position to actually hide them.
Ooh, and I like this play out of Maru. This is the sort of play that works very nicely on this map. He's not going to go for an extremely fast third command center, just a fast-ish third command center. And he'll be getting a very quick Viking to kill off Overlords, to sweep the map, because we see Jaedong already has 2 Overlords on that side of the map, and we're seeing a third one head to the right. We're seeing 2 more skirt around the back of Jaedong's baits. That's 5 potential targets for this Viking. I mean, Polt has used this a ton against Jaedong, though, so he has a lot of practice versus it.
Yeah, it's very true. I really like the one Viking in the TVZ, just to clean up the map, because I mean, if you have an Overlord that's there the entire game spotting, it can completely change everything. We'll see 100% in a little bit here if he's going to actually go for that, but I think it's definitely a good option.
Well, interestingly, he's going for Hellion Banshee. Now, normally I would say, oh yeah, Hellion Banshee, great build, old school, coming back into the new, given how many corners Zergs are cutting lately, but Jaedong destroyed MVP when MVP pulled that play up. Just wrecked it and swiftly countered for a fast win. Jaedong now getting the 7-minute layer, spreading creep for Queen, Zergling speed done. I don't think this Hellion Banshee move is really going to do much. He's going to have Overseers by the time the Cloak's done.
Yeah, you can see he's really picked a very different route than what we're used to. I'm used to seeing him do a lot more Marine harass here. But yeah, he's going to go for this Hellion Banshee, see if he can't do some damage. I'm curious if Maro's picked this build that he's doing on this map based off what he experienced in the last 2 games, or if this is a pre-scripted build.
I genuinely wonder that as well. I mean, I think that this is probably a little of both. This obviously is a build order you can do lots and lots and lots without much of a problem, but it's also very safe. No cheese is going to be able to deal with the Banshee. And oh no, Jaedong sweeping into the front. Oh, boom!
Almost got in there.
Great reaction by Maru.
Now the angling here can be pretty good for the Hellions unless they get surrounded like that. Okay, nice. He's going to slip through the minerals. These Hellions can really optimize their damage now.
But Jaedong is sweeping in to meet them. He has the Zerglings that were involved in the counterattack coming back. What are you doing, Maru? He is extending himself way too far. He has lost all of his map control.
He lost way too much.
What a disaster for Maru.
That was a disaster. He just sped right into him. You know, this Banshee harass has to be backed by you know, a big swath of Hellions. Or it doesn't really have the weight.
Oh yeah, I mean, a Banshee needs things to defend itself, and everything Jaedong's doing is brilliant. Look at this, 9-minute double evolution chamber. Why so late? Because he perfectly read the Hellion Banshee and rushed for a quick layer. Soon enough, Mutalisks are going to be out, and there's not even extra barracks done. It's a single barracks. Stim has only just begun, Nick.
Yeah, this is pretty scary. Now, he is going to go for the Evo chamber, but those are obviously not going to be picked off. Now, can he get the drones here? Nice transfuses going down. Actually, that's really good.
No, 12 drones lose their lives. Cloak lands. Jaedong, who was inches away from shutting it out perfectly, suddenly has taken massive losses to his economy.
Yeah, Maro beginning to tip the scale here. That was what he wanted to do all along, was just kill a large number of drones to try to set his opponent back. So Maro playing very well now.
But mutas are done, and look at this, Nick. Only 1 barracks still. The Marine count at 3. Just 3 Marines to deal with all the Mutalisks Jaedong's going to be throwing out.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty rough. Looks like the Banshee harass is going to end here.
12 kill Banshee, brutal.
Yeah, really brutal. Now, because he opted to go for the Hellion Banshee combo, his core Terran army, which we would call like just, you know, Marines and medevacs, are going to be later. So that may allow Jaedong to get a 4th base a little bit easier. But in the past few games, we've seen Jaedong really just stick to 3 bases and go for a control-based game where he's just limiting his opponent's options instead of expanding his own.
That's a great way to put it. He wants to cut his opponent down because Jaedong excels in these tense, small unit micro situations, as we've seen with his Zerglings in every one of these games. Now, Maru's doing a very unusual choice, but one of desperation. He's thrown out he has 2 Banshees on the field, and given his previous losses, he's invested heavily into this. He's hoping the Cloaked Banshees can delay. If Jaedong just snipes a single one, all of a sudden Maru is way back on the back foot.
All right,
there it is.
Nice, Muta's coming in there, getting that pick off. Now, Jaedong from StarCraft 1 had just unbelievable Muta micro, and he's definitely brought that over here in StarCraft 2. Now we're going into first-person view here. With Maru, and he's going to expand here. Now, people used to play this map as Terran. They would expand to the bottom left corner if you're in Maru's position. Oh, well, hold on, I'll get to that in a second. All right, he does just push him out.
Oh, no.
Now Terrans expand to the center right base, because that way they can push the Zerg's natural 4th a little bit easier.
Very aggressive way to play, but Nick, I don't know about this. While Maru's doing all of this, he's building add-ons at all of his barracks. That means there is no reinforcement set coming.
Yeah, and all those are reactors. I mean, that takes a long time to make, so it's going to be an even longer time before Marines are out here. This base is pretty exposed. It's not as easy to defend as the bottom left base, but if you take the bottom left base, Zerg then just gets the 4th, and obviously Terran wants to stop that.
Yes.
So what Maru's going to be doing is attacking so that this 3rd base of his is not bothered by Jaedong. But the question is, can he, with his good control, take on Jaedong?
Now here's something crazy. He's sweeping on in. He's going to be able to surround these Hellions, and down they go. The Banshee's going to take a fall too, but the Banelings haven't connected yet with the Marines. The reinforcements for the Marines are nowhere to be found. Where are they? The risk that Maru took to get the add-ons is not paying off. Jaedong is going to break the third.
Yeah, we have some reinforcements coming up here now. Jaedong may regroup and attack in here. No, he's going to go right for it. Doing a ton of damage, just tearing through. Now hitting the workers, forcing the Marines to chase these mutas now. I don't know how much more energy is on those medevacs, but I'm pretty sure that he's probably just going to regroup and attack in here again. And so Maru's going to wall off now this location and go into hardcore defense.
But look at Jaedong swinging lings along the left side. Maru desperately trying to wall off his third base. You normally don't want that walled off. It's way too vulnerable, and more importantly, it cuts down your own ability to attack. But Jaedong, who had only 5 Mutalisks, sees that the Terrans on the defensive has swelled up to 18, and the counterattacks begin.
Okay, the mutas now can come in here, and this is perfect angling. There's the ground army is not going to be able to attack as easily, but the mutas can clean up these SCVs. We see now Maru running over here to try to defend these SCVs, with the mutas already escaping. There's a small drop over here. We'll see how quickly Jaedong can deal with this. We do have some more links coming up here now. He will most likely pick up and go into the main from here.
Brilliant sensor tower positioning, and look at Maru. He's been on the ropes this whole game, but he's holding strong. He's powering up 54 Marines on the field, and there ain't a lot of Banelings yet. Only 8.
Maru actually has a superior supply to Jaedong right now. Now he's spreading out really nicely here so that Banelings, the splash damage can't do as much as, you know, the Zerg would obviously want. Now Jaedong did take his fourth at the far left. So what Maru's going to do is try to push into the third. This will be a little bit tricky. Let's see if Maru can do it. Jaedong now barreling down.
He's going to try to snipe every medevac that he can, but he realizes that now is not the time. The Zerglings do march deep into the main base of Maru, and some more SCVs are going to lose their lives.
You know, he actually is doing such a good job with dealing with this army. He just ran out with the Banelings. He's using the mutas while Maru's distracted with the Zerglings in the main to just shave off the corners of these spread out Marines. And now Jaedong's going to back up again. Supplies dead even in an attack en route.
Oh, the Banelings! Why, the mines, what were they doing? Taking nap time, not connecting with those Banelings. The Marine count continues to tumble. The Mutalisks are being controlled magnificently. A pair of spine crawlers go down as Jaedong really feels the pressure spiking up at his third.
Okay, another attack coming in here now. And this is a very small Marine ball, but if he can just get into this corner and get that hatchery, Jaedong looked like he wanted to go for a counterattack, then changed his mind. Now attacking in here again.
This is Maru's greatest strength, engaging in these angles properly. No more lings, it's mutas.
I think there's just barely enough mutas.
Oh my God, but Maru has done tremendous damage.
Now chasing the rest of this out, the medevacs boost out to escape. More reinforcements coming in here, but you know, the foothold that Maru had outside of Jaedong's base is just not there anymore.
Wow, Maru took a seemingly unwinnable situation and has turned it back around. Look at the fourth for Jaedong. Hardly anything mining right there. That means there's not really going to be very much gas for more Mutalisks, for more Banelings, all the key units. 25 Zerglings are out, and guess what? No macro hatch. This means that essentially it's only a matter of time. As long as Maru's able to control his units perfectly, he's pumping out the perfect biomine mixture.
He's going to try to move in here again, a scan, but doesn't really reveal that much. Most of those units were outside of the scan, those Banelings morphing in here. And I believe we have a counterattack down here at the bottom. So Muta's actually just trying to get this Marine army to slow down. Now, again, Maru is in a supply lead. So Jaedong has to have some pretty scrappy play if he's going to win this.
No burrow for Jaedong, so it's hard to find where those big players are going to come from. These Banelings have got to be supremely careful. There's mines littered everywhere. 9 on the map right now. Pretty good Baneling connection, but Maru's pulling back into this funnel. A beautiful angle, but the mines don't quite.
Oh, nicely
wow.
done. Now the Lings will come in to complement the Mutas, and Maru's beaten back again. Another attack over here on the far left, though. Jaedong's supply is dropping.
But
oh
the right
my
base.
God, but that might not matter.
It looks like all the SCVs are going to tumble down. Maru's going to lose a command center. He's going to exchange it. 3-base versus 3-base. It's all about efficiency. And the Biomine is one of the most efficient compositions in this game. Jaedong knows he's got to pick off Medivacs. He's got to pick up any little edge that he can. The SCVs are open. What an insane game 3, Nick.
Yeah, hitting these SCVs really hard here. Mule's now landing. Now it's 3-base to 3-base, but I think Maru might just barely have enough harass going on here that it's going to just halt the economy here of Jaedong. There's a lot of drops going on everywhere. Jaedong now expanding again to the close base of Maru. Really interesting.
A really wild surge of action.
Yeah.
Jaedong managing to somehow find the supply
oh my God.
lead.
He got the command center. Nicely done. Maru on 3-base for quite a while now.
But what do you do as Jaedong right now? You've got to regroup. You have drones going every which way. That was an extremely chaotic mid-game. I mean, what a series of back and forth trades. Jaedong needs to regroup. He needs to hold tight. Maru has a clear path to the 4th base. Jaedong's desperately trying to add on more banelings, but look at Jaedong's gas hovering all the way up at 2K. Zerg players dream about that, man.
This is really nice here for Jaedong because he has a sick tech transition that he can do at any point in time with that much gas banked up. Now we have Jaedong coming down here. Now Jaedong has to be very careful. Maru has been ahead in supply this entire game. It's just been Jaedong doing a very good job shaving off little armies here or there. But there was this one moment, a few minutes ago, I should say, where Maru hit that far left base, dropped into the main and to the 2nd base, and that was where things really slowed down for Jaedong. Things have calmed down a bit, but it looks like Maru's now going to push out again, and it's going to be head-to-head here.
Oh, Jaedong has spotted the bottom expansion, but Jaedong has to deal with this push at the front. Banelings carefully stepping forward and back to make sure that they don't erupt too many mines. And Jaedong is dangerously low on units. He has almost no lings, 14. He has more banelings than Zerglings at this point in time. And Maru has a perfect army. It's basically all Marines. 82 on the field.
It looks like he's going to move up now. The mutas are going to come around. Jaedong wants to do anything to delay his opponent. Things are slowly slipping out of control here for Jaedong. He's now going to engage these. Whoa, 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 oh no. Big risk there. And banelings now coming down and connecting.
Oh, the mine answers in kind. GG.
GG. Maru still got a shot. It was a close game back there. He'll have to win the next 2 if he wants to move on here.
What a move by Maru. Taking all that sick damage, doing so much to stay in that game despite everything Jaedong threw at him. That does mean that now Jaedong leads the series 2-1. It's not going to be a clean sweep.
Marcus, what do you guys think about it there?
Well, definitely think about the fact that we've got game 4 right around the corner. Jaedong with the lead currently 2-1, and we're gonna make this quick. So we'll start with you, Apollo. What do you think so far? Jaedong with the lead. Obviously, 2 very aggressive games. The macro game comes along. Maru seems to have a little bit of an edge.
Even though Jaedong's winning, I really think Maru was very surprised going into the series of what to expect from Jaedong, whether it would be aggressive or normal play. And I think he got caught off guard a little bit in the first 2 games. But even though he got caught off guard in the first 2 games, he played very well in game number 3. But it's still very difficult to come back from a 2-0 deficit like that.
All right. Over to this side, Todd, we're in control. Your thoughts on the matchup so far?
I'm surprised Apollo does not speak nearly as much when we're on air. We were actually talking a lot about strategies and everything that was happening, and like there was a lot of good thoughts going around. But yeah, in that 3rd game, I really feel like Maru finally played the game plan that he wanted to go for, and just was solid enough not to take damage or die to these all-ins that Jaedong have been throwing at him.
Yeah. Belcher is also a really tough map for that parade push. I feel like we've seen this kind of classically a lot. I really like the 3rd base placement of Maru. It allows him to rally to a central place that's both important economically, but also acts as a staging point for that aggression into what Jaedong wants to be his 4th. We saw him forced to go to the left side of the map, but that's just a very droppable spot when you got that rally going to the right side of the map. So really good.
All right, real quickly, next map is Frost. Yes.
Yeah,
we're on the same page.
A nice big map here. It's going to be very difficult to continue that same style that we saw on Belcher Vestige Frost. It really depends on where they spawn as well, but this is a lot harder for Maru to play that same style.
All right, any final thoughts?
Jaedong still has a game to give, and the guy likes to go into his little cheesy basket. He might go in there again.
I want Sean to do a little prediction here of what we might see, because, like I said, you're talking a lot
Look at that look of pure hatred.
I want to put you on the spot.
Jaedong's going to win this next game. What more can I say?
By the Queen of England, I'll strike you down, friends.
Should it go to a split, 2-2, Yansu?
That's when Jaedong goes back to cheese. This next game, no.
Okay.
No. Okay.
Listen to me. Just watch.
Exerting that confidence. I like it, Apollo. Any last comments here? No. No,
nothing to say. Kevin, next time we come back to you, you should actually do some talking.
All right, we're just waiting for the players to get ready, so I'm going to force you guys then to answer some questions. SOS is sitting in the finals. He said that he wants to be fighting Jaedong. He's 1 game away from getting his wish. Just out of curiosity, play if this happens. Jaedong advances. Who do you think wins? SOS or Jaedong? We know your answer. Roddy, how about you?
I've been saying SOS all weekend long, so I think
You
SOS
would
will
stay
win.
with that.
But I think SOS, even though he said he would like to play Jaedong, I think against Maru he's going to have a better time, because I think Maru plays quite similar to what we just saw Bomber do. So SOS seems to be pretty damn good against that style. Against Jaedong is going to be harder, and I'm very curious to see how good his PvC is these days. But
then are you surprised that SOS said, yeah, I'd like to face?
No, I think it's just, you
Jaedong.
know, because Jaedong is the bigger name still.
Wants the harder challenge.
Oh, I think he probably believes it's an easier matchup for him. To be versus Jaedong rather than Maru. I mean, Maru is... He might not be the best Terran versus Protoss, but he knows how to multitask, how to play very well in general, and I don't know, SOS probably has some confidence versus Zerg.
I agree, Jaedong does not know how to play in general.
Protoss has been doing pretty well against Zerg these days, and then Sulky was like, no, Protoss is not, and then Dier was like, well, yes, Protoss is, and followed him, so maybe SOS is quite confident in the matchup.
Well, can I say this too?
Sure.
The audience today has kicked some serious ass. You guys are freaking awesome. Thank you. It is so cool when they call those players out, and it's actually rumbling. Tasteless said it felt like Jurassic Park. It did.
It is
but
actually
like
rumbling.
17 T-Rexes coming down. It's crazy.
All right, guys, it sounds like the players are ready. Game 4 of our second semifinal is moments away. Let's send it back to the caster's desk and get this game underway.
Thank you, Marcus. You know, Frost, the biggest map that we have in the map pool, the biggest map that has really been in the pro gaming circuit. Now, normally we say bigger maps favor Zerg, but once it gets too big, suddenly it's hard for the Zerg to manage the multiple drop aggression. We got the chance to see StarTail Hack annihilate Jaedong on this map, building way more medevacs than the average Terran player, and that is definitely up Maru's alley in terms of style.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with his harass engagement style. Maybe that could play into it. Maybe we'll go to game number 5. We're going to find out soon as the map has just now loaded. Let's get noisy in here, guys. We're going on to game number 4 with Maru and Jaedong.
Spawning down in the bottom right-hand corner. Was down 0-2, his life on the line. He's managed to put a win on the table. Can he do it again? From Team Prime, it is Maru!
The legend from Brood War, not satisfied with that alone, is now interested and very close to being the champion of WCS 2013. Make some noise for Jaedong.
Thousands of people here in the StarCraft 2 hall, packed up, all the seats full, people standing in the background. There's those thunder sticks with glowy tips.
There's so many people here, man. This is so crazy. We got a quick barracks here inside the main here for Maru. So Maru not going to go for command center first here. They are both hugging the right side of the map.
This is a pretty tough position for Jaedong to be in.
Yeah, there's 2 angles to get to the opposing player's base. You can go up the center, which is a little bit of a kind of a C-turn line, or you can zigzag up the right side. But that means that you can have counterattacks on both sides. It's hard to get good angling a lot, especially in mid-game.
Here's going to be the strategy for Maru. He wants to jam as many units up that right edge as possible. There's no way to be surrounded. You know exactly the side that Zerg can approach you from. Oh, Jaedong. Here's Jaedong's plan. You know what's hard to do on a big map? Scout. Time to go 3 hatch before pool. Remember, in game 1, what did he... Never mind, guys. Guys, this is enough. He's not going to do it.
All right. All right. So he just... he wanted to mine a mineral from there. I think he might have done that, and I don't know if he scouted something. He might have seen the SCV over there in the green. So, okay, so he's going to get the command center down here. The Overlord now being chased out.
Is he going to lose an Overlord? That's a pretty tremendous loss. It's at 80 hit points now.
Yeah, if he loses that would be a big no-no, especially this early in the game.
My,
it's getting pretty low, actually. This is actually not forgivable.
Oh, no!
Guys, that like just does not happen. Like even like like low masters, I mean, you just don't lose the first overlord. This is a big hiccup in the build order now.
Dude, there's bronze leaguers in here right now going, that's embarrassing.
Yeah. Well said. So now Jaedong can recover, but this is definitely annoying because the early game in StarCraft 2 is so mapped out for these guys that to have to deviate from that and have your rhythm a little bit off,
yeah.
In a moment that's important as this is frustrating.
Yeah, I mean,
even to actually be on stage with all these people watching you lose the overlord like that is pretty painful.
I mean, it's like driving a motorcycle at 400 miles an hour, and then you just drive over a pebble. Crash immediately. I mean, that's how fragile these builds are. Jaedong is going to be advancing forward with his first lings, trying to spot what he can. Interestingly, Maru has selected the opening that is going to be best against the sort of I killed off the Overlord play. Double gas down. There's only two things that Maru can be doing now. Double factory Blue Flame Hellion, the popular choice on this map, or Hellion Banshee.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what he chooses to do. Maru so barely won that last game. I mean, Jaedong was actually behind, or I want to say like 90% of the game in supply. He was behind and still holding his own.
Absolutely incredible play.
Really crazy. I mean, oftentimes just about 20 supply behind, and that's a tough hold.
Factory 2 has just gone down. And
now it's possible he's going to just get a bunch of Hellions. There's different variations of how, are you going to get Blue Flame Hellions, or are you going to get just double reactor Hellions? But what this strategy is hinged on is blazing into your opponent's base, surprising them, burning down all the workers, and then, from there, the Zerg's so behind, you have a series of other options you can go to win the game. But if it doesn't work, then either Terran is stuck going mech, which I don't really think would be good on this map for the way it's shaped, or the Terran has to switch into bio.
Speaking of bio, I think I'm gonna take my dog out to pee. Yeah, she's looking at me like I need to, so I'll let her out to pee real quick. Dude, can I just get like one good song? One good song. There we go.
but is behind because of the decision to get those Hellions out early on.
Oh, Jaedong struggled against this in the WCS North American, both in Season 2 and 3. Now this upgrade, the Infernal Pre-Igniter, the Blue Flame upgrade, is about 2 minutes to build. And look at this, Jaedong's getting Overlord speed. He's not quite sure what's going on. He could get the scout off, but how do you deal with Blue Flame Hellions with just Zerglings?
Yeah, that's a big factor here. It's going to come down to angling, really. I mean, if he gets a bad angle, the Zerg does, and the Hellions can just utilize the way they deal the damage in a line like that, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. But don't forget that in game number 3, excuse me, when the Hellions came in, Jaedong just trapped him very easily, at least on that first one.
Oh, this is such a tense moment. This is where my heart begins to fail because everything can change in an instant. Jaedong scouting in. He moves in
All right,
to the
he's
natural.
gonna see it.
He sees it. He sees the blue flame is down.
And he sees a second. He knows 100% now. Now, will Jaedong be able to engineer the defense necessary in this very short window of time? The Hellions almost there. It looks like he's going to have a nice wall off here with a Roach Warren inside. I believe that's a full wall off.
It is a full wall off. Those drones are actually trapped on the outside. Blue flame is finished just now.
Okay, this is so sick. He can cancel, escort the drones inside, and seal up his entrance.
He's got to start sealing it up fast. He's already lost a single queen. How is Jaedong's unit control going to pull this one off? It's an okay surround, but is it enough? Back in the corner, Maru roasts the Zerglings. All of them have fallen, and Jaedong's drones are marching back to the expansion. That's not where they want to be.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's bringing these drones back. Okay, well, that was a failed attack then by Maru. Jaedong is in great shape.
Oh my God.
That was really nice with the drone that we have here, the Roach Warren he set up to wall that in. I mean, that was really safe type play. Now the Hellions aren't done yet. Looks like he might not be going for too much more aggression because he's going to get rid of just the creep tumors. He's not going for, you know, the money play, which is to take out the drones. He wants to keep these Hellions alive so that he's safe for when he transitions into bio. As you can see, +1 attack and +1 armor here for Terran, and Stim is on the way.
Roach Warren looks like he's going to be the choice for Jaedong. He's going to be going straight for speed. His layer's done. Will he be going Spire? Well, not for a little bit. It looks like those Hellions are doing a nice job denying the creep spread. The queen count up at 5. Roach, not as quick a transition.
All right, we have the barracks now coming down here. But remember, because of these Hellions that we see right here, he's not going to be able to get them out any quicker. We have the 4th base on the way, and I don't know if Maru's going to end up scouting that. That would be the most logical place for a Zerg to take, but, well, hold on thought, actually, because we have the Lings coming up over here.
Oh, my God. Again,
a run by.
Maru's making big errors like this again and again, letting Zerglings slip into his front and see everything that's going on. The supply lead does rest with Jaedong, and oh my God, Nick. Jaedong has a missed rally point at the north at the 3rd hatch. There he's going to be able to see it. But
Okay, yeah, that's actually a big deal, because, yeah, he did have a bad rally point, and that could be one of these situations where you're just like, I swear to God I had more units. But he did fix that.
He's going Roach speed, Baneling speed, 2-2. He's not getting up to 6 geysers. I think we're going to be seeing a Roach Ling Baneling bust at the 3rd.
Yeah, I think you're right. It looks like he just wants to end this. He realizes that Maru can't do too many different things at once. He's going for mass Marines and trying to expand. Jaedong can punish that. And he's got more and more Roaches coming out here. The upgrade's looking very good. Maru's going to have to put that siege tank into a really good position, because that's going to be one of the key points for whether or not he holds this base.
This is as close a situation as can be. Jaedong has essentially declared himself no more economy. He has 64 drones, and he thinks that's going to be plenty enough. But when does he choose to reveal? Well, looks like the mine count is still relatively low. He's only got 4 mines. This is an exposed base.
Looks, well, excuse me, we have the Roaches now coming down here, headed southbound.
A very, very tense game
And he's
here.
pushing the creep out really, really well. I like the sensor tower here, just to spot and see if there's anything else that's going to attack him in that location. Because if Maru loses his 3rd base, he's in a lot of trouble.
Well, it looks like Maru is seeing a flood of units. He is walling himself up. Now, Jaedong might just build these units and then not attack. There's the Banelings have been revealed, and it looks like, oh, Blue Flame Hellions, these are critical for the defense. These are key. They get knocked down, and Jaedong says that now's the time.
He's not stopping. He's going to keep pushing forward. Is there too much? Widow Mines decimating so many Zerg units, but the Terran is going all the way back to his second base. Still more Banelings now coming in here. The bunker being torn down. Roach is over at the third.
Has Jaedong done it? Has he advanced to the finals? The Natural is under fire.
Is this the beginning of the end?
Spire goes down. The third is going to fall. Maru has to retreat to his natural expansion. The bunker at the back is not enough. The orbital command center is burning down. The front still not secured. Fourth base down for Jaedong. He has all the options. 122 to 80 supply, and Maru is shot back to 2 base.
Completely wiping out all these depots in any position that Maru had. This is going to be an incredibly difficult situation to get out of. In fact, Jaedong may even go in for a kill here if he wants to by making a bunch more Banelings. The Spire, by the way, also on the way. Fourth will not be contested.
What an incredible series. What a sequence by Jaedong. He's smashed down the third. What did he see his opponent building? Siege tanks, the 2 factories at the start. He needs to use those defensively. But you know what doesn't shoot up very well? Siege tanks, Nick. He's going straight into the Spire transition.
Never said anything truer.
I don't like to lie on air, Nick.
Well, we have Maru trying to push out and just gain some ground, maybe push back that creep. Maru is going to take this space over here. Now, if he loses this location again, I don't think it's possible for Maru to gain any lead at all in this game. I mean, this is just the hiccup in the mining timing, the amount of workers that are lost. Everything it's really bad.
Yeah, 31 workers killed off by Jaedong in this game, and the Mutalisks are coming out now. There's 12 Mutalisks that are going to be joining in. Maru at his natural expansion doesn't really have too much other than his rally points. He's sending out some medevacs to do some maybe damage, but Jaedong's lockdown on this vision is too tight.
Yeah, and you know, he's getting mutas now, so usually drops tend to lose their efficacy once mutas are on the map because they can just get hunted down. Jaedong right now at 174 supply to 146. The medevac's picking up, but these mutas are en route right now.
Mutalisks have total freedom. They're going to pick off SCVs at the third base. Continued devastation by Jaedong, who's locked up his own bases tight at Jaedong's natural expansion. 3 spore crawlers to prevent any drop. Over at the top left, 2 spine crawlers to deal with any missed medevacs, and the creep spread, amazingly, is almost to the third base of Maru on Frost.
All right, another scan here. He's going to try to edge out, but this whole map is booby-trapped right now. Jaedong coming down. He's going to pick up again. We do have a drop in the upper left.
Oh, Jaedong spots it like it's nothing. Zerglings and Mutalisks rushing up to meet it. Easy target fires.
This is bad for Maru. Nice micro there. By the way, moving away with his mutas. He's going to, I think, actually just corner this medevac right here.
Great target firing by Maru to try to reduce the Mutalisk numbers. Only 10 remain, and he is able to boost out of there in time, but the Mutalisks provide chase. 82 Zerglings coming out. It's going to be all the way up to 100 Zerglings soon, and Maru has the right idea in mind. There is one attack left for Maru.
I think Jaedong is interested in dishing out the killing blow. Can Maru hold on? If Maru holds on, maybe he still has a chance, but he has to keep this third. Oh, God, he's unsieged. He's unsieged. He's unsieged.
Will the Burrowed Banelings be enough? Will Jaedong retreat? He's getting out of there.
Yeah, there are.
Oh, my God. Jaedong!
You're kidding me. He has no... Oh, he scans, but he doesn't know about the 4 that are down here at the bottom of the screen. He's literally in between two
counterattack
traps.
At the far south.
Moving up here now.
To the natural expansion. Jaedong's going to begin storming in from the top, but the natural is under fire. There's Banelings and Roaches there. Burrowed Banelings haven't popped up yet.
Okay,
and there it is.
Nice detonation there. Lynx tearing up the main. You can see Jaedong knows he can probably end this. He's just surveying all of the area around the Terran's base to try to figure out what's the best way to execute Maru in this game.
And it looks like the Widow Mines all detonate. They're all designed to pick off the Mutalisks, but in this position, the Mutalisk count is still not very high. 14, 11 more in production. We see burrowed Zerglings in the main. Jaedong knows how to use that burrow so effectively to lock down Terran aggression. But, you know, here's what I'm worried about, Nick. +3's done for Maru, and there's not a transition out for Jaedong. He's just now gotten Hive. He's getting 3-3. He needs to get Adrenal Glands, Infestors, something to help support this big force.
The Mutant's just trying to shave off anything Terran here and there. It looks like he's setting up again for another big attack. There's Lings in the main. I don't know how they got there, but...
I mean, this burrow is so nice for Jaedong. He's continuing to do these big swing arounds, and look at the left side. Uh-oh, the natural expansion seems to be the vulnerable point in Jaedong's eyes.
Okay, the Mute is now regrouping here. Jaedong is now identified also that he's going to try to take the fourth here. Oh, man, that is just barely out of vision.
And there's the connection down at the south side. Jaedong in true Zerg fashion, Nick.
He's got to be so careful here. Now the attack is coming down here. We have a big army coming down from the north as well. Now burrowing these banelings is Maru. Does Maru have his eyes everywhere? Now taking out the siege tanks.
Oh no. The banelings of the natural expansion, and he's not going to be able to get them off. Jaedong is everywhere. Maru can't even leave his base, and there's a pack of 5 banelings there ready to rip down anything that walks on top of it.
It's actually so hard to follow all the different things that Jaedong is doing to beat Maru in this game right now. There is so much action happening everywhere. Now, Maru still has that third base, is taking the fourth base. If Maru can last this out, maybe he can do a counter push here, but again, still Jaedong maxed out and now finishing up everything else in the Zerg tech tree, so he has every possible option.
Well, with the Thors out, it's another sign that Maru feels defensive. He feels like he's on the back foot, but Jaedong's counterattacks are never ending. He's preparing yet another assault at the third. Those 5 burrowed banelings in between the bases are still a threat, and Jaedong's also sweeping with Mutalisk to try to do another doubled up assault, hitting at the bottom left. But it looks like Maru is going to be doing his first ride out to meet Jaedong, and Jaedong's going to have to start playing mighty defensively. The double drops at the bottom left also get spotted down.
You can see Jaedong has Maru completely surrounded here. Maru really doesn't have any room to get out on the map. There's still traps inside of Maru's base that he doesn't know about. He could even unburrow those, for instance, and try to go hit the fourth, the workers that are there. There's a lot of different ways that Jaedong has this. I mean, you got to give Maru credit for even staying in this game for this long. Okay, now, he's going to try to chase these SCVs away, but it does not work. And Maru is still... beginning to stabilize very slowly. You can see Jaedong has backed up and is saying, all right, I'm just going to try to get more ahead now.
Well, Jaedong's now going to begin to try to apply pressure to the south base.
More ahead now.
Well, Jaedong's now going to begin to try to apply pressure to the south base. Maru is going to get an opportunity to burrow these mines, and Jaedong has to retreat. Maru is just barely hanging on in this position. I mean, he is at 4 base, though. I mean, he does have the opportunity to stabilize.
Yeah, you know, he absolutely can. I mean, you got Terran on 4 base, all mining, and they're in great shape. They can go all the way into the end game with a Zerg.
With 5 Ultralisks popping out now, it's going to be up to the fungal growths. The mine count, not very high. Decent number of everything, but Jaedong's just not letting his armies join together. He's just doing more and more and more and more countering.
Looks like he was actually trying to free up some supply there since he was maxed out. And Jaedong has the ability now to transition throughout the rest of this game into any tech he wants. So he can continuously try to hard counter the unit composition coming here from Maru. Maru now running here with his medevac. It is taken out. The Muta's retreat now.
And I mean, in the meantime, Jaedong has secured bases in the top left, covered in spines and spores. It's not really going to be an opportunity for Maru to get cross-map. Maru's going to have to soon begin deciding, does he even want to abandon his bases? Does he even want to try to go for a much longer game? I mean, Jaedong's had this on total lockdown, but Maru's managed to figure out how to stay alive and is almost at 3-3 himself.
Okay, a few fungals being thrown out here. Jaedong actually backing up. He may want to try to lead him onto the creep, onto Jaedong's turf. Small counterattack coming in over here. Will it hit those SCVs? We'll find out shortly.
Uh-oh, there's the Zerglings heading into the third, and mines being a little bit crueler to the Terran SCVs than to anything else.
And it looks like that was an inconsequential attack.
Yeah.
But it did keep Maru, make Maru back up for just a little bit. Counterattacks are incredibly strong on this map because there's all these different lanes you can go down.
Yes, definitely. Maru's going to try to, he's got a big attack he's got to deal with. This is swinging in the front. We see that there's no siege tanks anywhere nearby. Things are getting ripped to shreds. The Mutalisk also storming in, but Maru seems to be holding strong. It looks like the Terran army's a little bit too much for Jaydong.
He's barely pushing back.
No way!
No, it's just not quite
enough. He's gonna take it out, and Maru manages to hold.
The supplies are even now. I can't believe that. There was a Thor kiting an Ultralisk back there. That was how close that was. Now we have Lings just trying to deflect any harass that comes in here from Maru. But Maru actually obliterated everything that Jaydong has. Jaydong has restarted. Now, granted, both these guys are going to max it again really quickly. I mean, they have really strong economies.
I can't even believe I'm going to say this, but Jaydong might starve Maru on 4 bases. But
yeah, that actually might happen.
But what's happening is we're seeing Jaydong. He's picked off the medevacs. There is one on this left side, and it is wreaking havoc. The Mutalisk pack is gone. No more Mutalisks on this field. I think Jaydong may have made the one key error. As weird as it sounds, Maru has been waiting for an error from Jaydong all series long.
Okay, now let's stay on this shot here with this expansion. This is really important. Everywhere else on the map is basically impossible for Terran to expand to. Terran's not mobile. This base, really hard to hold. If Maru can actually hold that, this game could go on for a lot longer. Zerg, much more mobile. And Jaydong will do everything in his power to deny that base from getting there. Because if he can do that, he will dry Maru up economically, and Maru will have to forfeit the game.
We're seeing Broodlords in production at the natural expansion. Jaydong getting picked away at ever so slightly up at the north, and it looks like Maru gets distracted briefly. We'll keep those alive, but no Corruptors are heading up to join these medevacs. Jaydong is amazingly defensive right now.
We now have, with this tech transition, the multitude of options for Jaydong. I am trying to imagine a scenario where this bottom base can actually be secured. It's really going to be difficult here.
I mean, the production is the answer. Maru's making no mines, no tanks, nothing that isn't lightning quick. And interestingly, this Broodlord Infestor suffers against exactly the army that Maru's building.
You make a great point, Sean, because when you end up facing Broodlord Infestor, you just don't engage it. You just kind of run away from it and attack somewhere else.
South base under fire. Small pack of Lings proved to be too much, but big push in the middle. Jaydong is moving forward with all of his forces to meet it. Zerglings on the left, Ultra Infestor on the right, and Maru is going to try to engage.
All right, Maru picks up now. He's got to get away from those Infestors. Nicely done. He's trying to steer the Broodlord, this death ball that we just saw. He's trying to steer this away from any of his bases. So we're going to see a lot of counterattacks from Maru. We're going to see Maru behaving kind of like a Zerg here.
God, the defense of Maru has been incredible this game. To think that he had been battered back to 2 bases due to a brutal Roachling, Baneling all in from Jaydong, who then snapped back and continued to apply pressure with Mutalisk, Burrow, everything in the book. But is this the Doom Army to end the game?
Okay, he's now coming down here. Keep in mind, this is an immobile army, or well, very immobile army here from the Zerg. He has to go very slowly. Now Maru's going around. He's dropping here. He's also got a small group of units moving around here. We could get into a really weird base trade scenario.
Jaydong's got to be careful. He's got to pull away from that command center. The Planetary is dealing a lot of damage. Jaydong is about to lose his critical mining bases. He hasn't taken the center base.
They're actually about to go into a complete economic drought here. Somehow, Maru actually managed to get almost all of his entire army up here to the upper left, and he's going to take everything out.
Baneling's moving in. Jaydong having an answer. Maru still trying to apply pressure through, but Maru's main is not going to be around long. These Banelings got to be the heroes to keep Jaydong's Expos alive, and it looks like he's managed to clear out most of the forces.
He absolutely has. Meanwhile, these Broodlords and Infestors are slowly chewing through the remainder of Maru's base here. Maru may actually have to pick up and start hiding buildings elsewhere. The only thing going for Maru really is this small mobile army and this base at the bottom left. that the Zerg could take out at any second.
33 drones to 20 SCVs. These players have hardly any economy. The income tab shows that these players are just plummeting down to almost nothing. But Jaedong hasn't yet counterattacked the most important part on the map, the bottom left expansion for Maru. That is all the opportunity for Maru's future game right now. But Jaedong's going to be carving out the main. No supply depots, no production, nothing else. It means that there's one army left remaining for Maru, and it is the one at the north.
They are both in the red right now. They can't even produce anything. This is a game that went to supreme endgame, high economy, and is turned upside down.
Oh,
it is a race of two players just trying to eliminate each other's bases, and I have no idea who's going to win.
The bottom left must be the target. Jaedong has spotted the bottom left expansion. The main is his target now. Production tab is virtually empty. And here comes the push to the main. Is Maru going to do it? Is he going to be able to close it out? A Ling Ultra Force heading in. The bottom expansion is not mining. There's almost no buildings on this map for Maru.
He's going to go try to kite this army up here on the high ground. Jaedong is now out positioned in his base.
Where are the buildings? There's no more buildings. This is it.
I think this is it.
Jaedong.
If Maru loses all his buildings, he loses the game.
In an elimination race with no income on either side, Jaedong takes Maru to the supreme late game, wins the series 3-1, and now is in his 5th 2013 final.
Incredible. He's done it. He's moving on. DJ Reed, what is everybody thinking?
You guys, Jaedong advances to the finals to join SOS for the 2013 WCS Global Finals. The chants of the crowd say everything right here. He went up 2 games. SOS brought one back, but wasn't able to close it. Jaedong, the one able to close that book. I want to actually go to Rotterdam with our first thoughts here on this matchup. There was so much discussion actually about the back and forth that happened in that game. And although it might not have looked that way at the end, there was certainly a lot going on in game number 4.
Game number, yeah, no, definitely. It was absolutely insane. We were just all losing our mind over here. If you try to, you know, sum up that game, where do you even start? The Roach main all in, it was good, and it turned into a long game. At a certain point, Maru had a fantastic fight, and we were all like, is he actually doing this? But Jaedong, his macro, his non-stop counterattacks, the fact that he was able to get like that 5th, 6th, 7th base, and all with static defenses as well, and distractors, absolutely insane play by Jaedong. I have no idea how he controlled and did everything at the same time. I guess this is where APM truly pays off.
I think it's safe to say that that game we just saw was one of the best games we've seen in a very, very long time.
I mean, there was a lot. You were saying Jaedong's playing out of his mind. At one point, Apollo was even like, as Jaedong was taking the lead, he's like, guys, I mean, still have to say how awesomely Maru is playing right now too.
And I think that's, I mean, it's such an incredible moment for Jaedong, but Maru was down and out. Like, I was over here already celebrating. I'm like, oh, it's over. And you know, everyone's like, well, I don't know, maybe if he does this and that. And Maru climbed back in, and he was getting beat down all game long. Like, the drops were getting picked off by Jaedong right and left. The Mula switch was doing a lot of damage to his only 3rd base. I think some of those Widowmine shots really saved Maru, but then he was able to capitalize on that in that big fight with all of the Infestors, the Ultras, and the Mutalists going down mid-map when the Terran player Maru still has 4 bases. That is a red flag for Zerg players. It's so hard because they remax. He remaxed on 92 Zerglings or something like that.
And that's all he had on that point.
And that's scary. It was all his minerals. He didn't have a giant bank. So,
Todd, what do you think?
I feel like the game started off a little bit slow. Like, not too much was happening. Like, they were trying to do what they have to. And then suddenly Jaedong enabled God mode, and like, he sent the Zerglings into the natural. The Mutas were picking off the tank. Like, from there, Jaedong played so well. He did everything right. He had overlords everywhere. At some points, he had some insane star sense. He placed his Mutas on the bottom left-hand side. He was like, I have an advantage now. The only way this guy can come back is with some nice drops. So he started making Spore in his natural. He placed his Mutas on the bottom left-hand side of the map. Medivacs flew in.
Yeah.
He predicted everything that Maru was going to do. He sent Banelings everywhere. He had some nice Banelings. That was one of the most impressive games I think that I've ever seen of StarCraft.
You know, I mean, Roddy was quoted during this match as saying, like, Jaedong is playing out of his mind. And it's one of the few times you actually get to see at least a nice display of the utility from the burrowed banelings to the creep in the west side of the base that spotted that double medevac drop. I mean, there really was so much that you just looked at as sort of in awe.
He wasn't missing the burrowed banelings too. That was the crazy part. Like he's actually counterattacking with lings in the main base, using his mules to target down the tanks.
Right.
And he had pockets of little burrowed banelings that he was actually picking up on. It was incredible.
I think that's one of the craziest things when we look at players like Jaedong, one of the brutal legends that moved into StarCraft 2. I think one of the first things we started to look at was these guys played that game, which was arguably harder at such a fast speed. They were doing things that it's impossible for anybody else. And we're able to see that today in that game, that Jaedong was able to go another level, to reach another height, because he played, probably as Todd just mentioned, one of the most impressive plays that we've seen. There was so much going on, and he was able to do it all, everything, all at once.
All right, guys. Well, guess what? We've got SOS versus Jaedong coming up next, but we want to hear from the winner from that last semifinal. Let's throw it back to Chobra on the main stage.
Again, do I need to introduce this man or what? It is EG Jaedong moving on to the finals here at Blizzcon 2013 for the WCS Global Finals. It's been an incredibly emotional run for Jaedong this weekend, and I want to see what's running through his head right now.
진짜 어제 백동준 선수 상대로도 정말 감동적인 게임이었는데 오늘도 또 다시 한번 마지막 게임 정말 힘겹게 이기시면서 감동적인 모습을 보여주셨어요. 기분이 지금 어떠세요?
말로 표현할 수 없을 만큼 기쁘고요. 제가 결승에 다시 한번 이렇게 올라가게 됐는데 올해는 준우승만 했는데 정말 좋은 기회가 온 것 같아요. 그래서 4강에서 이겼지만 우승을 하지 못하면 의미가 없다고 생각합니다.
I'm speechless. That's just how happy I am right now. And as a lot of people know, I've always been runner-up this year, all year long. So it's another final opportunity for me to try to take that title. And if I can't take it, even though I won a good semifinal, it actually won't mean as much for me because of that record this year. Now we know who he's going to have to face off. It's going to be SOS. And a lot of people earlier in the year used to say, you know, Jaedong's EVP, it's not that impressive. It's been shaky. But he's proved us wrong at Gamescom before. Let's see how he feels about that matchup.
그럼 이제 상대는 김유진 선수 벌써 정해졌죠. 프로토스로 하면서 지난번에 WCS 시즌2 결승전에서도 조금 팬분들이 걱정할 수도 있다. 프로토스 상대로 좀 그동안 전적이 안 좋았는데 그때 정말 보여주셨어요. 정말 많은 준비를 했다. 오늘은 기분이 어떠세요?
8강에서 백동준 선수 우승자잖아요. 그리고 4강에서 조성주 선수 테란이고 또 우승자고 제가 다 이겼기 때문에 지금은 제 적수가 없다고 생각해요.
You know, in the round of 8, I faced Deer, and he's a current champion. I took him down. I faced Mara, once again, another champion of this year, Terran, but I took him down. Who's going to take me on now? I don't think there's any enemies who can stand up to me. Once again, it's another finalist for Blizzcon 2013, EG Jaedong. Back to you, Marcus.
Thank you very much, Chobra. Guys, we are so close to the grand finals of the 2013 WCS Global Finals. It's SOS versus Jaedong. Will Jaedong capture another second place, or will he take the Blizzcon crown, or will SOS come out of the round, or the top 16 to take that title and $100,000 when we return the grand finals of Blizzcon 2013? Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Something that maybe you haven't had the opportunity to be exposed to before.
Doing that and seeing the magic that comes from
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the World Championship Series Global Finals. It's Grand Finals time. We'll be bringing you all the action from the final of StarCraft 2 with $100,000 going to the winner in a few moments' time. First, let's check in with our bracket from the round of 16 all the way to the grand final. You can see the road through this graphic that Jaedong has taken all the way to the final and that SOS has taken all the way to the final as well. Ladies and gentlemen, two fantastic players throughout the weekend and throughout the last 2 days going through that bracket brilliantly. So, head to head, it's Jaedong versus SOS. It's Zerg versus Protoss. Let's take a look at the matchup between the two players. As you can see, SOS ranked 12 in the world from the WCS rankings versus Zerg, 67%. Very nice, very good. And Lee Jaedong from Evil Geniuses in South Korea ranked number 3 in the WCS rankings from 2013, and versus Protoss, a very useful 62% as well. Ladies and gentlemen, our grand final will start very shortly, but first, let's get the predictions from our panel of experts with DJ Wee.
Thank you, Paul. Finally, it is time. We started with 3 seasons, 3 regions. We got down to 16 players. They battled it over the course of yesterday, and then today, the semifinals. Leading up to the finals, it's SOS taking on Jaedong for $100,000 in the title of WCS Global Champion. Gentlemen, I'm very excited to hear what you have to say about this. SOS, he defeated Hero, Polt, and Bomber on his way here. Jaedong, MVP, Deer, and Maru. Who wants to take it first?
Oh, dude, we got to throw down some facts right out the gate. By being in the finals, Jaedong is officially the most successful pro gamer in history across all games. The #1 spot is his, dethroning Fatality, who has been in that spot since the dawn of time. Yeah. Also, both players in season 1 and 2 went 0-4 in their grand finals appearance. SOS 0-4 to Innovation, Jaedong 0-4 to Bomber. So whoever wins game 1, it's actually their first win in a grand final scenario. And most importantly, Jaedong has gotten 4 second place finishes this year, is looking not to get to 5. He just wants to do 1 place better than season 2.
Yeah, Jeff and Todd.
I mean, this final, the energy's electric. It's standing room only. There's people milling about. This is what I was born to do. I'm so excited. StarCraft has risen to this point where I don't know if I've ever been a part of a better production, of a better show. Personally speaking, obviously Jaedong's my boy. I walked into that first booth when he took 2nd place at DreamHack, and he had tears streaming out of his eyes because he wanted it so bad. And it was at that moment that I saw him, and I knew that he was perhaps the most special player that I've ever encountered in my entire life. And to see that emotion generated here, to see him with yet another chance to reach up and grab that star, I'm gonna cry like a freaking baby if he does or if he doesn't. So let's just keep the camera off of me.
Yeah. Todd in Rotterdam, I want to hear from you as well. Let's start with you, Todd.
I did not expect either of these players to make it to the finals. I know Rotti predicted SOS to win the whole thing, but looking at this match here, it's crazy that these two, they beat all the people that they beat, and now they're going to be playing each other. Also, Dana mentioned it, they both lost 0-4 before in the grand finals. For Jaedong, it actually happened twice. Once versus Bomber, once versus Bolt. So those who are Terrence, he's doing a lot better versus Protoss. This is a very interesting matchup, stylistically as well. And I'm just so excited. I cannot wait to get those games started and take a first look at what these players do.
Well, and I'm glad you brought up what Roddy said, you know, that he had chosen SOS from the get, because I'm sure he's not only feeling great that he made the prediction early on and is almost there, but you said Jaedong's playing out of his mind. And if he brings that same game, Rotterdam, are you still comfortable with your prediction?
Then I'm not sure, because what I just saw Jaedong do in that last map on Frost, that's the best I've seen a Zerg play almost ever. It's the first time I've really seen Jaedong. Like, Jaedong has beaten so many good players already this year, and to make it to so many finals, obviously that was not coincidence or luck, but I always just felt like the wins were good, sometimes impressive, but never like absolutely amazing, unforgettable, and that's almost what I felt in the last game, despite being good early on. But I don't know, I'm super excited for these finals. I'm a big SOS fan. I used to be a really big fan of Rain, and I still am. But I felt back then Rain and SOS were the Protoss players. That's why you stayed up at night. That's why you wanted to watch the Pro League. And SOS has always had this crazy style where we always thought you need Colossus in this matchup. And Rain is like, no, I'm just going to do everything else than Colossus. Even when I can and have 2 robos, I will refuse to make Colossus. And double observer production. Yes.
All right, guys. Well, sorry to interrupt, Sean, but the players are ready. Let's throw it to the main stage and introduce our 2 finalists.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Blizzcon 2013 for the World Championship Series Global Finals Grand Final. Please make some noise for the finalists, SOS and Jaedong! And as the players get settled, it's time to go over to our commentary team. We've got something very, very special for you indeed. Gents, the stage is all yours.
What's up, guys? I'm Tasteless, with me is Artosis and Apollo. We're going to be doing a three-way cast here for the very first time ever here at the WCS Global Finals here at Blizzcon 2013.
This is going to be a lot of fun. These are the two nerds that I like to cast with. And this is the type of storyline that I want to see in any tournament.
This is going to be one final to remember. This is the biggest StarCraft 2 tournament of all time, and we will have a champion very, very soon.
So going into this, what do you guys think? Who's going to win this? I'm going with Jaedong. I don't think this guy can be stopped. He just looks too good.
There's no way that he's going to be stopped at this point. Okay, we've said that how many times now, Paul? How many second places does Jaedong have?
We have casted him so much this year. Jaedong has been waiting. He's been patient. This is meant to be the one.
But you know, if SOS manages to take him out, I mean, what does that say about him? This guy is a powerhouse. He's fairly new in comparison to somebody like Jaedong. I mean, Jaedong is legendary. If that were to happen, that would change everything. You know, we saw Parting dominate last year. What if SOS can do it again here?
You know, maybe he can. He's so strong. He's been playing so well. But if you look at the players that Jaedong has gone through to get here, and you look at just how badly he wants, he needs his first tournament win, I see no other result than Jaedong taking this.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a really incredible thing. We've gone through an entire year now, watching these players develop, watching them grow, seeing the upsets. And now, within an hour or a few hours, we're going to crown a champion. I mean, WCS is changing the way StarCraft esports is in an incredible way.
This has been, I'd like to say in StarCraft 2, the best year we've ever had. This has been an amazing year. The story from the beginning season where we saw SOS play so well, and then through Season 2 and Season 3 where Jaedong got better and stronger each season. This is just the ultimate finale to the best year we've had.
It truly is. And let's take a look at this guy, SOS. As you said, Apollo, he was doing so fantastically at the beginning of the WCS season, at the beginning of this year, but he kind of fell off a little bit.
Yeah, he really did. You know, his play style is very particular. He's a really sneaky player. He does not strike me, although we don't, you know, when we look at someone like Jaedong, there's so much information to pull, you know, because there's so much history there. But SOS has never struck me as somebody who's really nervous, really phased. He's just focused on winning.
Yeah, I mean, he's really, I think one of the biggest things to look at SOS is, yes, he's one of the most creative Protoss players we've seen in Heart of the Swarm. He innovated a lot of the play styles, but he never had something so solid to back it up, something so solid to push him towards a massive tournament victory. But at this tournament, like Jaedong, he's played excellently. He's backed everything that he thinks. He's so smart, he's intelligent, and it's all backed up fundamentally excellently. And that's why he's in the final.
Well, let's take a look. He beat two Terrans to get here in a Protoss in this tournament here today. Do you think his PvZ style, that style that we've seen before from him, with a lot of Void Rays, a lot of Skytoss, Charge Zealots, DTs, High Templars, is that going to be something that can take out Jaedong, who has been beating down the very best Protosses in the world?
That's the scariest part about SOS being in this final. Who was the player that made that Void Ray style? Who was the player that went Zealot Charge? Who was the player that went Storm faster to improve his own style? Now imagine that player that made those styles, backed up with amazing mechanics just like Jaedong has. This is not going to be just as easy as people think it will for Jaedong.
You know, it's funny. Let's go back to the start of StarCraft 2. Remember that not all the Korean professional gamers switched over. Okay. Right? Jaedong was one of those players who was still playing Brood War when StarCraft 2 was out. And people were saying, well, what's going to happen when eventually StarCraft 1 entirely fizzles out? And these guys are going to switch over to StarCraft 2. And a lot of people were saying, well, we'll see people like, for instance, MVP dominate. Of course he's going to be good. He's had more time to practice, and he made the right choice to switch over this game. In this period of time, from the end of the full end of StarCraft 1, and these players switching over, Jaedong has risen to the top so quickly. It is absolutely incredible.
And shouldn't he have? The greatest Zerg player of all time. We've known this forever. No one was even close to him in Brood War. And it looks like he's on that same path again in StarCraft 2.
I think that we can look at when players like Jaedong, or let's just say Jaedong, when he moved into StarCraft 2, he played, some may say, an arguably harder game when it came to Brood War. He was playing faster than anybody else. He was stronger than anybody else. Do you not believe, though, that he's hit new heights and new levels for Zerg players and overall plays in StarCraft 2?
He has. Look at his play. He's using more mutalisks than most other Zergs. He's innovating in a lot of ways. His mechanics are just fantastic. In my opinion, Apollo, he is the best reactive Zerg.
I completely agree.
You know, it's funny because we saw in that last series there, Jaedong really is somebody who takes control of the game. You have to play by his set of rules. I'm wondering myself, what exactly is SOS going to have to do beyond just completely bulletproof defense? What is he going to have to do to get to the point in the game where he's going to be able to have an advantage? Because Jaedong is just, he's
just so, the weight of him in there is incredible.
You know, I think Apollo said it well before. SOS is an innovator. He is someone who comes up with new stuff. And I think we need to see something new from him here. And he hasn't played PvZ yet, so maybe he has something completely new that we haven't seen before.
Jaedong is so mechanically strong. If it's equal, if it's a heads-up fight, if it's just a street fight, I think Jaedong wins. SOS has to bring something special, unique, that can outsmart Jaedong here.
Yeah, I'm always wondering, should maybe we see a timing here from SOS, or should we see hidden tech? I mean, Jaedong's been so good at scouting, so good at harassing. It's almost funny, though, because the way that he's won some of these games are not what you expect to see at this level of WCS, you know? I mean, games where he's just been flat out, figured out his opponent's build right away, got an edge. A corner, for instance, Reapers, like we saw in the last game, with lanes to just get a lead. It's almost like his intimidation factor is one of the things that's helping drive him up to where he's got now.
It's really scary to play against a Zerg that can play like that, Tasos, that can be so decisive and make these moves. For instance, you know, I was out back watching that last match. Double factory Blue Flame Hellions, 0 drone kills.
Yeah,
When's the last time we saw something like that?
And not only does he get 0 drone kills, he's already back to mining as the Hellions. They haven't even left creep yet.
Yes.
And he sends his drones back to mining. It's so slick what he pulls off.
You know, I look back at that last game, where he just had controlled the map the entire time. Maru could not get out of his base. And this went on for, I think, 25 minutes. So just absolutely crushing him. If you look at the mini-map, there were little Jaedong-colored dots all around. And it's going to be tricky here for SOS because Zerg can do the same thing to Protoss. It's going to be tough.
It certainly is. I cannot wait to start this match, you guys. Does anyone up here think SOS is going to do it?
Well, you know, we didn't see a lot of Jaedong playing against Zergs here today, or Protoss here today. So you got to keep that in mind. He was really crushing through a lot of Terrans. So maybe SOS has something well prepared for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if SOS can break the killer mentality that Jaedong has, because right now he's got so much momentum that's pushing him forward. I really think that if he can do that, then yeah, I think he could.
You know what? We've seen, 5 second places and 2 round of 4s from Jaedong this year, I believe. Can he actually win a tournament? Because he's had momentum in all those as well, and it absolutely did not work out.
Yeah, I mean, 4 finals, the 5th final now. Surely this has to be a victory. How long can he keep being second?
Well, he hopes it's done, that's for sure. I mean, people can't even talk about yellow anymore if Jaedong doesn't win tonight.
Well, it's so wild to see when you get to StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2. This is the longest esport that's still been around, right? Yeah. Jaedong is the guy that is continuing to carry the torch forward as somebody who's the best. Most of the time, but when you get pro gamers, and really any game, usually they're at their top for, I would say, about 2 to 3 years, the best. You know, I mean, Jaedong's somebody who's, we're going into like a decade of here. I mean, think about that.
He is called Tyrant, so that makes sense.
Looks like it's time. Let's make some noise with our 2 players here in the finals of the WCS. Over here in the upper left, give it up for SOS. All right, it looks like we have had a pause. We did see Jaedong type in PD, which is the Q4 pause inside the game. We don't know what the issue is, but whatever it is, it's clearly important. These are, okay, looks like, okay, he didn't have sound on. Let's try this one more time. Over here in the upper left, the Protoss Hope, give it up for SOS. His opponent down here in the bottom right, the legend from Brood War, give it up for Jaedong.
There's a lot of support for Jaedong there, Tasteless.
Always a fan favorite. Really tries to interact with everyone. And oh, do we have a cannon rush starting this off?
Looks like it's going to be that. He's sending the probe out here now. Now, Jaedong's gone for early pull before, but it looks like in this case he's going to go for a quick hatch.
Uh-oh, this could be backfire, but he sees the probe coming, so at least he can watch for something like this.
Oh, dude. The finals, dude.
A second probe coming around.
Oh, is this going to work here? Well, Jaedong, look at it. He saw the probe. He's decided to switch up. He's gone for the pool.
Oh, well, that's actually really nice. The fact that he saw that probe, because the second probe coming out, this is going to make it really hard.
Wait a minute. He's still going to go for it? This is interesting.
I think this is something we saw from Liquid Hero within a couple of tournaments, actually. He's going to cannon brush from below that hatchery.
Well, you know, one thing about SOS is he has such brilliant builds. He's bringing this one here
into the most important match of his entire career.
He certainly is doing that. And you know what? The one thing, maybe he can get a cancel here because of that low ground cannon protecting him. And if he can do that, he's also got cannons hitting the third base.
If this works, it's going to be huge, because this is Jaedong we're talking about. And I don't think Jaedong's going to scout for this. This is so abstract as a cannon rush. Oh my God, he spots it!
But I think it's too late. I think it's too late. The cannon is going to finish on the low ground. He can't stop this cannon on the high ground here.
Yeah, he should be able to force a cancel here.
And if he forces a cancel, Zerg's going to be in such a deficit. SOS already has cannons at the front of his base.
Well, what does Jaedong do from here? Is he going to cancel Apollo?
I'm not too sure. I think
Fucking cannon rush in the World Finals then. Nice.
he has to, actually. He's already got this other hat trick coming down the left-hand side. This is going to be impossible to defend.
And, you know, think about this. With the cannon, the one on the low ground, he can't expand to that other base if this gets canceled. He'll be stuck on two bases, and he does force a cancel.
Does make that cannon finish at least. And, well, the gateway just starting now, about a minute later than normal due to the cannon rush.
So how successful do you think this has been, Artosis? This is a dedicated attack from resources that could have been for a faster expansion. Was this worth it for SOS?
I think if you look at it in the broad spectrum of things, where it's some games he's going to pick up a free win here, it's worth it, but in this game in particular, wasn't good enough.
Really interesting play. And with the way that Jaedong probably was going into this game, his mindset, the tables have really been turned. Jaedong was somebody who was taking control of each game against his opponent, setting the rules. Now, it's completely different. Jaedong has to, on his feet, with the world watching, engineer a strategy that's going to come back and turn the situation around.
Well, I think that's really what Jaedong is best at. This guy's so reactive, he's so clever, he's played a lot longer than SOS, he's so experienced. I think he's going to be fine here.
Yeah, and Jaedong's decided to take double gases here, so what is this actually for? I mean, he's going to tech up quite fast. Is this just for Zergling speed? Does he try to do something else here? I'm not too sure.
It's pretty hard to say, actually. I'm trying to figure out, with two gases this quickly, like, you could go for a fast layer.
You know,
what would you want to get with that, though?
It's funny because if he doesn't get a third base up here and Protoss is on two bases, I mean, this is StarCraft 101. You have to stay in the lead when it comes to expansions as Zerg. So maybe Jaedong's going to try to do something to end this very quickly.
Well, he is going up to a very fast layer. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to end up seeing here, Apollo. What do you think?
Well, the options from this point, well, as he starts to clear out these cannons, he could go for a Nidus Swim, but what exactly is he going to put in there? He doesn't have Zergling speed research. Does he want to throw down a Roach Warren soon? Mulis are out the question. Could it be, if he takes the gases on his other base, could it be a Hydra Nidus play or something? He's so limited on gas at this point.
Yeah, you know, he hasn't taken the gases at his new natural right here. So it can't be Mutas, as you said. It probably won't end up being any sort of infestation pit. I'm not sure.
I feel like it's going to be a Nidus Worm. I'm not sure if that's the best move, but then again, what is the best move in this very bizarre setup that SOS has started this game out on?
Well, we have to look. The SOS did do research +1 attack straight away. He's added on 3 extra gateways, so no matter what Jaedong does, SOS seems to have a plan here. He's chronobushing into that cybernetics core.
Okay, so SOS is going to have plenty of units. Probably isn't going to die. Ooh, a Hydralisk Den. So he's actually going fast Hydras. Maybe Jaedong thinks here that we were going to see a Stargate rather quickly after the cannon rush, which is pretty common.
That's very true. The Stargate is super common after a successful cannon rush because you can control the map very, very easily, especially with the Queens being slow off of creep. Instead, from what I'm gleaning here, is that Jaedong is doing a kind of abstract way to just get back into a normal game. He's actually okay playing from a completely uncomfortable position as long as he can get back to that macro Zerg style that he's so good at.
As we see here, we have 4 probes that just got rallied to exactly the wrong place. That is actually a gigantic hiccup in SOS's economy.
Well, now the cannon's going to get picked off here, but we have a pile on aggressively. Remember, +1 attack has finished, and units are moving across the map. Are these Hydralisks and Zerglings that are going to be needed? That's going to be enough. That's a lot of force fields.
I'm almost under the impression SOS expected Jaedong to do some kind of all-in after this and is now caught off guard. He is going to move down here into this attack. Let's see if Jaedong can hold this off.
He could force field this ramp and lock all the units out. They'll have to run around. If he does do that, he sees the Hydras, though, and does back up for now.
And we have a pylon coming over here at the third. SOS being very cautious. We've seen some players be a little bit too aggressive. He peeks in there and he says, can I 100% win this? No, I'm going to have to back up.
That was so interesting because I really thought, as you described, Autosis, he could have done so much there. Force fields on the ramp, he had the mothership core, he could easily recall if something went wrong there, and I think that may have been a missed opportunity for SOS.
I feel like minimum he was going to kill a lot of drones, but instead he has decided to run away. At least that does leave him with a lot of force fields for defense, and he did force a good amount of units out of a very low economy Jaedong.
Here we have that infestation pit coming down, and it looks like the drone going to the fourth base now is going to arrive, and Jaedong has transitioned into frankly a pretty healthy Zerg macro game right now.
He certainly has. He's got a pretty decent drone count. He's still teching up. That's a pretty quick infestation pit as well, and going on to a fourth base, you can't really ask for more after this weird and wonky start.
Yeah, I can't help but feel that with SOS's attack and investment into that gateways and the +1 attack, and without doing anything, it's almost equalized the game a little bit. I mean, Jaedong wasn't too far behind from the initial cannon rush, but from this point, the Hive is on its way. If he's able to combine Vipers with the Hydralisk that he has out, or something along those lines, especially because we see Colossus on the way, this could be a dangerous attack.
And, you know, on this map especially, one thing that it's pretty popular is going just for Swarm Host play and turtling up, which he could do. He does have, you know, an economic engine that's strong enough that he can set that up. We'll have to see.
You know, that is true, but this is also Jaedong. We have to remember that. There's always the possibility of Mutalisks. He could go for that, but with the Roaches and Hydras being made, I think it's going to be mainly Corruptors to help take out those Colossus.
Yeah, once those Colossus go down, this Protoss army that we see is just going to melt to the amount of Hydralisks and Roaches we're going to see.
All right, so we see a scouting hallucinated Phoenix coming in here. A Protoss is going to poke in and try to just wipe out the creep tumors, anything to get a little bit more map control. He sees the teching, and it looks like from here he's going to just go ahead and get a second Stargate. Oh, excuse me, he cancels it as I say that.
Okay, I think he was thinking it might be Mutalisks here, so he was getting ready for it, and after scouting this many Hydras and Roaches, obviously it's not going to be.
That makes a lot of sense because we've seen so much Mutalisk play from Jaedong throughout the last 2 days. He probably was trying to get ahead and stop that before it started, but no need, canceled it. Nice play there.
Well, Jaedong is racing up in supply now, guys. He's already up to 170. He really is racing, and with 3 Vipers on the way, a couple of Ducks to the Colossus that are out here, Jaedong's army is going to be so strong.
Right now, SOS cannot attack. In fact, right now, SOS has to sit back and defend. As soon as they're charged up, it's going to be a deadly attack, but the Templar Archives is on the way.
That Jaedong is maxed out, by the way, as you can see here in first person, just now hitting 200. So he can now just start pulling larvae, and it's going to be very difficult for SOS to deal with. SOS at almost half of what Jaedong has.
We even see an Ultralisk Cavern coming down, a really great transition, especially if your opponent is staying on gateway units. So here we go. Jaedong is moving out.
This could be pretty crazy here, Tasteless, if these Ducks grab those Colossus.
All right, looks like he's going to be moving in now. Will he actually attack, or is he just testing the defenses around here? He could harpoon here with some of these Vipers.
Well, he does have 3 High Templars here, and it looks like, oh, he does pick off that Forge, and here comes the first yank. Oh, the Colossus lives for a second yank. The Colossus goes down.
Beautiful, taking that Colossus out and then maneuvering around the map, but we do have a War Prism coming in over here. It could hit the third base, and it could hit it hard.
A beautiful counterattack coming in from SOS, though. All the army, every part of Jaedong's supplies on the other side of the map. That War Prism with the Zealots there could do so much damage to Jaedong's infrastructure.
It very well may. There's only a single Roach and a Queen here to help out. If you can warp in some more units, that's going to be great, but this attack is still going on at his front door.
Looks like he's going to move in again here. The Colossi backing up. Will they get
the
harpoon again?
Oh! Well, he doesn't end up getting that Colossi. It does get microwaved very quickly by SOS. In the meantime, the Zealots still trying to do damage, but don't get much done.
Oh, great pick there by Jaedong. Grabs one of those Colossus. But most importantly, SOS is holding strong.
Now think about this. The Colossus increment out one by one from the robotics facility. If he keeps losing those, he's never going to be able to push out on the map. Meanwhile, Zealots now hitting the hatch. Transfusions coming down. Jaedong rapidly coming back to try to save this.
Oh, is he going to get it? Is he going to get the hatchery? Oh, transfuse!
Oh my God! I cannot believe my eyes, even using an abduct on a single red Zealot. Jaedong going to every measure to save this hatchery.
Unbelievable play there. Jaedong not missing a beat, still maxed out. His army pushing out towards the front of the Protoss' base. He's going to keep controlling this. It is looking to be probably a Jaedong win if SOS can't turn something else around here.
Hey, you know what? That is a possibility. He even has that Ultralisk Cavern ready. He's taking that 5th base. This is looking rather good for Jaedong, but SOS is taking his 4th.
Is he going to get the hatchery?
Oh, no, not this time, Tasteless. The transfuses keep on, and the Warp Prism has to run away. But I think a really important part of this game right now is the Ultralisk. The upgrades are starting to come in. He's making his Ultralisk stronger. Jaedong currently doesn't care about Roach Hydra Viper as much anymore. But look at this. There's no Immortals. There's no Archons.
It's wild, man. Look at how much Jaedong is banked up, by the way. Almost 4K in minerals and over 1,000 in Vespian gas. So he has a lot of options here. Let's say his army gets wiped out. He can come up with a completely different tech.
Two Colossus being picked off, and it looks like he may even get a cancel on this 4th base. Jaedong playing a flawless game.
This is some of the best Viper play I have ever seen.
Yeah, and I can't believe that Jaedong keeps pulling this off. He's moving around. His opponent can't even get over 150 supply.
Oh man, look at this. The Zealots in the main base. At the same time, the Roach is hitting over here, but he doesn't even care about these Roaches. Psystorms comes down. Looks like he'll save the Nexus for now, but still more damage being done in Jaedong's main.
Yeah, the Nexus was bruised there, but just not enough. The Zealot harass has not been impactful here to get SOS elite. SOS having a hard time even getting outside of his base. Well, we have another Zealot harass coming in here. He's going to go for the hatch. He's not going for the drones. This means he has to take a big step if he wants to get ahead.
Well, right now we have a big bang for Jaedong. The Spire's finishing. Is he going to do the Mutalisk switch?
The hatchery's getting lower, 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 and it does look like Jaedong once again manages to save this.
There's so much money being thrown into picking off hatcheries, the Warp Prism, the Zealots, and neither of them are successful. What is Jaedong waiting for now? It's going to be Ultralisk first of all here.
All right. 5 Ultralisks on the way. Also, a lot of spine crawlers being made. He realizes that this harassment is doing very well. Oh my gosh, getting a hatchery! Finally, SOS picks off a hatchery.
It's incredible. I mean, look at the APM here. That's actions per minute. It is so high right now. I believe that's SOS on the left there. It's incredible. These guys are playing so fast.
Right now, Jaedong pushing up again. He wants to get rid of the 4th base. Will he be able to do it? This is a little suicide force here, so even though it looks like he'll cancel that 4th, he should end up losing the army.
But Autosis, I really don't think Jaedong cares about his Roach Hydra anymore. But the big question I want to ask you and ask every other player out there, is SOS ready for Ultralisks?
He is absolutely not ready for Ultralisks. Stalkers, Sentries, and Colossus are all countered by them. And in fact, look at this. He's seen the double Spire, and he's going for Phoenixes. He's afraid of the Mutalisk switch.
And he's pooling the Phoenixes here too, so the Zerg might not identify that in time. And that might be a big surprise here for Jaedong.
Yeah. Well, Jaedong is still making Ultras, and that's just another unit. You know, Phoenixes are even worse against Ultras than Sentries are.
So right now, SOS is attempting to take a 4th base. He can't stay in 3 bases forever, and I think what we're going to see, Jaedong's going to go for one big final attack. As soon as SOS moves down to take his 4th, his army will be the open, and that's when Jaedong's going to come for map number 1.
And it looks like that 4th is all just about to be completed here. He might wait for that to finish so even more damage is done, but you're absolutely right. He's going to gear up for one big killing blow.
Well, he's ready. He's just waiting kind of in a concave here. It's hard to break through a wall with Ultras. And in fact, now he's showing them off. SOS has to be feeling pretty sad that he's bought so many Phoenixes right now.
Jaedong's on 5 bases. You can't stay on 3. He has to come out, but it gets cancelled. How the hell is SOS going to be able to afford anything if this game continues on?
This game is going to start snowballing here. In fact, it already has, really. Jaedong is getting bigger and bigger and scarier. He has so much banked up right now. And now going for the Nexus here. Will this snipe work off? He'll take out the Nexus and even free up supply to tech to something else.
Well, it looks like he does want to switch tech now by throwing away those Ultras. He could go into Mutas, but let's not forget, SOS is ready for that. There's a lot of mind games going on right now.
But how much money does he really have? Because yes, he'll have a little of everything, but not a lot of it. And that's the big problem, because look at how much money Jaedong has saved up. At any point in this game, Jaedong could win with his trademark move.
Well, you know what? There's a lot of Immortals on the way. We're actually starting to get to a composition that SOS may be able to win battles with. And if he's very quick with that, Jaedong's going to have a hard time. But again, as Tasteless, you were saying, the 5 bases of Jaedong allow him to do whatever he wants.
Oh, look at this brave soldier, Tasteless.
Just moving out right here.
He's going to grab that watchtower.
Now, note that most other players would, well, hold on, we're in first person now. So it looks like he's going to go ahead and try to do some harass over here. Anything he can do to try to get a small lead, taking out these drones, maybe even getting this hive. If you get that, that would be huge.
Well, the hive, it may in fact end up going down, but, you know, is that enough at this point?
Now, it's important to note that most Zerg players would have a wall of spine crawlers and be turtled up, but that's not how Jaedong plays. Jaedong is all about aggression and control, not about passive play.
That is correct. And in fact, he sat back there for a moment, the Immortal making its way all the way over into his natural.
So do you think Jaedong may be sitting back too much here, Artosis? SOS's supply is starting to rise now.
Well, you know what? Immortal, Void Ray, Archon, Colossus is a pretty good unit composition against Ultralisk. So, yeah, he may have waited a bit too long.
You got to wonder if this might be somewhat of a mistake. This is a map where the 4th base is much easier to secure than any other map, and maybe Jaedong banking on wiping out that 4th and drawing up the Protoss, maybe that's a mistake.
Well, you know what? I think Jaedong can make a few mistakes here and still be okay. He's just got so many bases. He's taking others. Creep spread looks good. And that's still a good unit composition.
Well, we could see the fight happen here. Jaedong is posturing outside there, but SOS is tucked in a very nice location. If Jaedong was to fight there, he'd probably lose a lot without really trading off too well.
Well, we see a passive Jaedong right now. He's just waiting. You know, he's saying, okay, you're gonna come out. You're gonna try to fight me. SOS completely turtled up right now, and I'm really starting to wonder here, unless Jaedong starts to make a bunch of spine crawlers perhaps or something. Oh, we'll see. Actually, he's attacking it now.
All right, a little bit of an attack so far. Those Phoenixes starting to get picked off a little bit, and I think that's part of what Jaedong wants.
You know, these Ultralists are not quick. I mean, the Stalkers can continue to chase them there with Blink. This one Void Ray nicely takes out that hatchery, catching the tail end of that there.
All right, I think it's time for Jaedong to really start doing something. He's got the Nidus network, which is going to come. He's got an Overseer on high speed towards the main base.
Now, he might not see this Nidus network come in here, where he's actually moving out with his army in the middle here. This could be a big surprise, but SOS has decided now is the time to attack. Almost 30 minutes into this game, he's finally trying to make a killing move.
Well, it looks like we're starting to have a base race. The Ultralisk Roach going towards that 4th base. Mutalisk starting to be made, and that's going to be his big switch as he loses his supply.
Yeah, that's going to be it. But does he lose these 8 Mutalisks that come out? Does he lose the hatcheries? Does he lose the lava? Extra spires are being made. This is getting crazy.
Once again, Jaedong is going for a base trade scenario, but will it work? As SOS tears through Jaedong's base, he eliminates critical tech structures.
Uh-oh, some DTs in there, no real detection. He's going to have to end up using a fungal most likely. This is getting really painful for Jaedong. He has to go home and lose this supply so he can make Mutalisks.
All right, well, imagine if he lost Overlords or something along those lines. This is becoming very, very close in a game that almost shouldn't have been.
It's absolutely insane. The bottom right base is being taken out. Phoenix is being produced. There are 3 spires being made right now.
Did he lose his main spires? Is that why we're not seeing it?
He lost both spires back there at the second.
Oh, this is really stressful right now, I imagine, for Jaedong. With all the Phoenixes being made, they've already been upgraded for so long. They're going to be so good against Mutalisks that pop.
That is very true, but these Mutas do have +3 attack. There may be a few Infestors left on the map that could swing that battle in his favor. But this is starting to look really rough for Jaedong.
You know, if he gets enough Phoenixes out, the Overlords are not really well protected. I mean, he could actually wipe out all of the ability for the Zerg to make units here.
Oh, and he's actually adding on 4 High Templar, and I really think that's the deal with what he's expecting, I'd imagine, to be Mutalisks. He's probably like, Jaedong, come on, man, you've been on 5 bases for 20 minutes. Where's the money?
Well, it's a very good question. I think he's really smart to be making these Phoenixes. Jaedong just losing the spires, doing the base trade with Ultras, it's not working out for him.
He doesn't have enough lava.
No, he does not.
He's lost so much.
It's so sad. He has all this capital, and he can't spend it.
Well, here goes the Army, and this is going up towards at least where one or two of his extra spires are at, and there are two of them. So those are going to be taken out rather quickly as well. Good thing, though, he made 3.
Does Jaedong fight up there to defend that location, or does he forget about it and try to keep the Mulis count rising?
I think he has to forget about it. There's no way to save it, no matter what. Those Immortals are going to win whatever battle comes to them right now. He actually just has to have mass mutas, but there's so many Phoenixes out, I don't know that it matters.
And the Spires are going to be stamped out again here. Jaedong running out of places to hide as this death ball of SOS moves from location to location, slowly wiping out anything Jaedong related.
Oh God, these Phoenixes doing such a great job against the mutas, and in fact coming to join up this army with all those Archons. You are never going to be able to engage this.
Yeah, after watching this game, I can't help but feel how good and how well SOS has played. Just imagine, a few moments ago he's on 3 bases, he couldn't take a 5, he looked so far behind, but everything's gone his way.
It certainly has, and this is the final battle. GG! Wow. That was amazing. For SOS to come back and win that when Jaedong had so much money banked, so much tech, he had everything at his disposal, and one false move, not letting his army die, not having the supply to repop on mutas right away. He waited too long.
It's so interesting how SOS played that. I was pretty confident, I think you guys were as well, that once we saw SOS stuck in his base for like 25 minutes or something, that Jaedong should be able to win that no matter what. But SOS had the patience. He was so calculated when he moved out. Even the order in which he attacked everything was beautiful, and that's how Jaedong got wiped out.
All right, so this is going to be the next map that we'll be going over to here in this best-of-7 finals. It is going to be Derelict Watcher, a 2-player map. It is rather large and open, and it's definitely a map that we've seen throughout the World Championship Series this year that has favored Zerg over Protoss.
It has, and I think it's a good map for Jaedong specifically. We've seen a lot of Mutalisk play here from him, but it feels like, you know, is he losing his nerve? He's in the finals. He's so close to winning the most important tournament of the year, and he just almost threw away that game that he was so far ahead in.
Well, you know Jaedong is going to be kicking himself for that last game because it started out weird. I really like that strategy by SOS. But, you know, the thing is that it was a strategy that, although it was weird, he was unable to make it fall through. But yeah, he had that advantage, and he wasn't able to carry it out.
Well, Apollo, what do you think Jaedong has to do here to pick up a victory to get back on track?
I don't think he really needs to change that much. I really, kind of felt in that previous game that he really wanted to end it with the Mulisks. He knew that a base trade could happen, but it just didn't kind of go the way he expected it to be. So I don't really think he'll change that much this game. But one thing to note, which, okay, maybe one small thing we'll see change, is just maybe the openings. I think he'll be a little bit more careful of SOS. We know that he can open any style, any kind of build, aggressive or non-aggressive.
Well, you know what? I think that's a good point, Paul. If he plays as well as he played last game and just doesn't make that one big crucial mistake, he was looking like a better player for a while there. But again, SOS, you cannot count him out. He knew what was going on the entire game. He was so on top of Jaedong's style, making those Phoenixes so early on. That's really how he ended up winning.
Well, guys, it looks like it's time for game number 2. To find out who's going to be crowned the champion, the best StarCraft 2 player of 2013 here at Blizzcon. Over here in the upper right, in the red, up 1 game so far, make some noise for SOS. And in the bottom left, the legend from Brood War here to prove he can be the legend now in StarCraft 2. He is Jaedong!
He is intense right now. To have lost that game?
Oh, looks like we might have a pause here.
Looks like we do, in fact, have a pause.
Yeah, I think it was Jaedong putting his headset on. He's just doing it now in the booth. But I really agree. I mean, he was intense, man. That stare as we were loading into this next map, I think that would it. Yes, it is. It would have. It was loading into this next.
All right.
Yeah.
Pause here.
Looks like we do, in fact, have a pause.
Yeah, I think it was Jaedong putting his headset on. He's just doing it now in the booth. But I really agree. I mean, he was intense, man. That stare as we were loading into this next map, I think that would it. Yes, it is. It would have. It really would have angered him. That first map. That would have made him so much more determined for this next one.
That would be so frustrating, that first map. All right, so anyways, we're back into this game. Again, the map is Derelict Watcher.
And you know what, SOS that was just on the screen there, he actually looked very calm. He looked very collected and not even really nervous.
It's really interesting. He just seems unfazed at all by this entire experience. He's totally clutch.
Are we seeing mind games happen here, Artosis? Are we going to see another early forge?
Yeah, we are. This is another cannon rush.
So is he saying that you can't? I mean, is Jaedong saying you can't cannon rush me twice in a row?
You know what's crazy about this? Let's say that SOS wins here. Let's say that this strategy looks like the last strategy that we saw in game number 1. This will forever change the way we understand Protoss.
Well, SOS is going for it. We don't see a second probe this time. Of course, this is not a map you're going to go low ground. Oh, what is... Okay, the drone coming out. Almost looking for something weird going on. And will the probe... Oh. Apollo, it's happening.
It is happening, and well, guess what, Artosis? You cannot get in between those two pylons.
Yeah, due to the architecture here, he can actually just make a cannon with it blocked off, and Jaedong is probably going to be forced to cancel here.
This is like SOS's thing, finding funny places that you can't get into. So this cannon rush is already basically successful. Jaedong is not going to be able to stop it.
I don't even know what it means if Jaedong loses to cannons in the finals of this. This is insane. All right, now the drones are coming down here. Kenny, nice wall off there. If he gets these cannons up, he's going to have to cancel this hatchery. That'll put Zerg in a really bad position.
You know what? This is exactly what SOS wants. He gets 2 free drones now as well. Jaedong is way further behind than he was in the first game.
That was so much more successful. Jaedong, in that circumstance, thought he could break it. That's the reason why he pulled the drones, but he couldn't.
I have to imagine that Jaedong is livid right now. In game number 2, cannons already foiling his plans.
Well, this is a terrible spot to be in. You know, he's already lost a couple extra drones. Look at this. He has 4 Zerglings. What are those Zerglings going to do? See that there's a cannon at his opponent's base? Great job, Zerglings.
We see the Lings now completely rendered impotent. There's nothing they can really do here. He's going to go ahead, SOS is going to go ahead and tech up, get his gas. And from here, SOS has a series of very good options for how to carry out a win.
Yeah, I think it was a really smart play from SOS, because when you open up with a cannon rush in game number 1, Jaedong's going to be thinking, yeah, he's not going to do it twice, and therefore decided to go back to his original build that we almost saw him try to pull off in game number 1. And SOS was able to play that mind game, and he won it, and he gained the advantage.
What do you guys think Jaedong's going to do in this game? Because I think if we look at the last game, it's fair to say that he handled that bizarre situation really, really well. It was the end game where he kind of wasn't able to really follow suit. Will Jaedong do something similar, or is he going to do something more aggressive and all-in-ish?
You know what? I think he has to do something similar. I think he has to play kind of a safe game overall. I would definitely expect Stargate here, although some Protosses like to go for Warp Gate Rush because you have the proxy pylon already up and secure. So he has to just watch out for something like that as well.
Well, Jaedong is taking both of the gases at the exact same time as the previous game. So far, it does look like he is mirroring what he did previously.
Well, you know, it's really safe, and I think that opening like this will pretty much always get him into at least a 4-base situation before SOS has a really dedicated attack.
How soon do you guys expect SOS to take the 3rd? Because the 3rd base on this map's a little funky. It's not the easiest thing to get to.
Well, right now, we're actually seeing +1 attack being researched again. And Chrono Boost going into the cybernetics core, rushing out that Warp Gate research. He's not mining the most amount of gas from his main base, if I just glance at that real fast there. So I think we could be seeing a gateway attack come from SOS here.
You know, I think a timing could be really effective here. I mean, the Zerg is already economically a little bit staggered here, so maybe a move in like that could do the damage that he needs to do.
Well, let's see how many gates he gets. Will it be just 4? Will it be 5, 6, 7? We don't know quite yet. Looks like if he is going to make more, he's going to spread them out. And you know what? If he doesn't have a Roach Warren, that's going to be very scary when those Zealots warp in.
All right, 2 evolution chambers. So right now, Jaedong kind of investing in the late game, in the long run. And you got to think, if the Protoss does have a good timing attack, this pylon, he has a proxy pylon right there where the cannons are. He can actually warp in an army and attack him right away.
But he doesn't have another one anywhere else, so it seems very simple if that were to be the attack and the strategy.
Yeah, but look, I mean, the Warp Gate just now finishes, and the cannons are still there, the pylons are still there, and now he's going to go for double Stargate.
Well, you know what? I think he's going to warp in around his Zealots, perhaps, harass a little bit with these Stalkers the Zealot he already has, as well as those with the +1, and then just go straight into Void Rays.
And I think this is what we all described previously before this series started that SOS would need to do. Outsmart, outthink, and just kind of outplay Jaedong without physically fighting in kind of just wars head-to-head mechanically.
Yeah, it's kind of this weird, like, drunken boxing way of playing the game here from SOS, where he just gets in this position where he has complete control. And now the Zealots are attacking in here. The drones are going to be used to defend.
This +1 attack doing a fantastic job. Look at that micro pulling back the hurt Zealot, not letting the Queens be too effective. And he has forced a lot of Zerglings and killed a lot of Zerglings.
And he can, again, warp in more if he wants. We have two Phoenixes now on the way. 4 more Zealots warped in on the bottom. Mind you, he can attack from that proxy pylon, the north or the south.
And you know what? I think the last thing he would have expected were these Stargates, but he did scout them, so he's going to have to be very careful.
But without a Roach Warren, I mean, SOS has seen that this is double evolution chambers. He doesn't really can't afford a Roach Warren or Roaches. So at this point, he just continued to warp in more +1 attack Zealots.
The angle here for the Zealots is really strong against these Zerglings. Zerglings now coming in here, but the Zerglings not quite getting as good surface area as Jaedong would want. The harassment continues.
Well, he continues to warp in Zealots there as well. I think that the efficacy of this rush is basically used up. There's so many Zerglings out right now, and that 1-1 about to finish, those are wasted unit rounds.
But we do see Jaedong previously just scouting out the Spire. I mean, scouting out the Stargates, but decided to go Spire still.
I mean, what is that going to be? Is he going to go Mass Corruptor? Maybe Corruptor Muta?
But then, you know, if he goes Mass Corruptor, can he actually get enough out in time before the Phoenixes have already paid for themselves in dividends, right?
It's hard to say. I'm not exactly sure what he's planning there. And seeing the Spire, the Fleet Beacon does go down for SOS. It seems like everything Jaedong is doing is playing into his plans.
What we're seeing SOS do so far in this series, we've never really seen a Protoss do before. This is changing the way we see the game now. This technical harass, starting out with a cannon rush, having a secured proxy pylon, into this air harass. It's absolutely beautiful.
So what is that gas that Jaedong has saved up? What is it for here? 1,200 of it saved, but what does he build?
I still don't know. It looks like 5 Corruptors. Maybe he just grabs a few of those and goes Muta and just says, you know what, I'm going to try to outplay this guy that has Mass Phoenix.
What happens if it's Corruptor Zergling only to try to break this third base? It's only Phoenixes, it's only Zealots, and remember, the Zerglings have a higher upgrade count now.
Now, here's one thing going for Jaedong. He did force a cancel over here. Will that be enough, though? The Phoenix harass and the Zealot harass continues.
Look at this. The Zealots just continue to come in. As you say, Tasteless, they're going after the Spore right now so that the Phoenixes can come in, but there are the Corruptors.
And we now have the Zealots just doing so much damage at this point in time. You know, I think a lot of this goes back to the fact that that proxy pylon with the cannons was never taken out.
And Jaedong just doesn't have that high of a mineral income. His main base is consistently harassed. He's only mining fully off 1 base at this moment.
Oh my god, and look at where he puts those Zealots. Just perfect placement against someone only making Zerglings, but luckily with these better upgrades, he will clear this out as well.
So many Queens have been picked off here. You know, the Phoenixes are so agile, they can get in and out and just avoid these Corruptors with ease.
SOS is playing such an intelligent playstyle right now. He's got 2 cannons there to support another pylon where he can continue to harass and continue to warp in units to stop the income and economy of Jaedong. This is beautiful play coming from SOS.
It looks like SOS is maybe a minute or 2 away, actually maybe a second or 2 away, from forcing Jaedong on 2 base. And this goes back to the basic theme of Protoss versus Zerg. Zerg always have to be ahead in a base, or Protoss will dominate them.
A perfect play here from SOS. So clever, so good. And he's continuing to upgrade his Phoenixes. He has so many, it makes sense. How does Jaedong recover from this situation?
And I'm not sure he can here from this point. He's losing so much. SOS, as you vividly described, is playing so smart. This is some very intelligent play from game 1 and game 2.
We see the Phoenix is now strong enough to engage the Corruptors, doing so much damage, and Zealot's spinning in here. I don't know if Jaedong can recover.
It looks like he may be dying here, Tasteless and Apollo. Look at all of these Zealots just pushing forward. The Corruptors almost all gone. This is bad news for Jaedong.
Again, the Corruptors being beaten back. Nothing really here to stop these Zealots, and I think we're probably going to have to go into game number 3.
Yeah, even if Jaedong's able to push this back with the Roaches and Corruptors he has, this is a very easy place for SOS to fall back onto a 3rd and continue the game longer if Jaedong does defend on what he has in bases at the moment.
At this point, the Phoenix count is simply too high. They're being so efficient. It snowballed far out of his control.
And I gotta wonder what's going on in Jaedong's mind. How is he gonna recover here as this series continues? Because SOS is playing like probably nothing Jaedong prepared to face against.
You can't prepare against something like this. This is a strategy that we basically never ever see, but SOS has used it and executed it like a strategy he does 10 times a day.
And he's gone up to 4 Stargates now. He'll probably throw down a third base momentarily, and he's just going to increase his Void Ray count. He realizes that Jaedong only has Zerglings and Roaches to play around with. The air units aren't good when the Phoenixes are out in so many.
The Spore Crawlers won't even stop the number of Void Rays that he's going to be flying across the map with. It's a perfect move again by SOS, and Jaedong cannot even switch into Hydralisk from here.
Yeah, right now this is like a checkmate. Yeah, GG. I think Jaedong was biding his time a little bit there after that one game. Probably trying to digest that loss and then also come up with a plan as to like what exactly does he do to turn this series around.
Well, he's down 0-2 right now. He's staring at possibly another second place. I'm starting to feel a bit bad for him, Apollo.
But overall, apart from game number 1, I mean, I think in game number 1 it was Jaedong's mistake. In game number 2 it was SOS with the advantage early on, and he carried an advantage throughout all of the game. Coming into game number 3, Jaedong must not allow something so simple as a cannon rush to bring back the Tyrant. Something so must not allow carried an advantage throughout all of the game. Coming into game number 3, Jaedong must not allow something so simple as a cannon rush to bring back the Tyrant. Something so simple shouldn't stop such a warrior.
Okay, I gotta ask here. Is SOS gonna do anything cannon rush related again?
I say yes. I vote yes here.
I want yes.
It's Whirlwind, okay?
No.
A 4-player map, definitely a map that has the minerals situated in such a way that a cannon rush is 4-player map.
Yeah, if I'm there, I'm probably like way back here somewhere or some shit. They're back in the fucking middle back here somewhere.
Definitely a map that has the minerals situated in such a way that a cannon rush, a 4-player map, definitely a map that has the minerals situated in such a way that a cannon rush is not hard to pull off, and it's a little bit less easy to do it here. You have to send out 2 probes to guarantee it. That could trick Jaedong into thinking, you know what, I think I'm just going to hatch first again.
Artosis, is there anything that Jaedong could do to be aggressive himself in the early stages, which would counteract what we're seeing from SOS?
You know, I don't really like any of the aggressive options because you can fall back on that forge just so quickly. It's very unlikely that even a Zergling rush could get in before the wall is complete.
You know, it's tricky because the cannon rushes they have their place, but you don't expect ever for a cannon rush to be used more than once in a series like this, right?
Yeah.
That's like your one sucker punch move out of that best of 7, but to do it again like that, and you can see SOS really has it mapped out as to how the Zerg responds. SOS might have been a little bit surprised in game 1 to see how passive and conservative Jaedong was, but the moment that Jaedong tried to do something a little bit more dramatic in game number 2, he immediately was able to punish it.
Well, we have right now Oz in the booth, the teammate of Jaedong from Evil Geniuses, talking to him.
Yeah, I mean, any confidence and words of advice from a teammate is going to be so important at this stage. He cannot let all the memories of all the other tournaments this year, the other 4 finals he's played in, come back, because in multiple tournaments he's actually lost 0-4. And if he's to lose this next map coming into Whirlwind to go 0-3, statistically it's very, very difficult to come back when you're 0-3 down in a best of 7.
But that would be the greatest thing we ever saw.
That would be absolutely incredible. And by the way, guys, looks like it's time for game number 3 here between Jaedong and SOS.
He's angry, Tasteless.
Jaedong does not look too happy right now, that's for sure. SOS cool as a cucumber. Introducing our players in the bottom right. Surprising everyone here. Playing so well. Up 2 games. Give it up for SOS. And in the upper right, the fan favorite here, the legend from Brood War, make some noise for Jaydong.
I think the crowd has really shown who they want to win.
Yeah, a lot of Jaydong support here.
He's got to stop this landslide before it's too late.
Well, if he loses here, it's the Jaydong curse, the curse of the Dong. Not the Kang curse anymore.
It's going to be interesting to see what SOS does here, because again, history is being made. The metagame in StarCraft 2 will be forever shifted after today.
You know, cannon rushes, it seems like they're the way to go. Maybe, you know, the North American server has it right.
That's right. Maybe they do, Artosis. As you can see, there's another hatchery first. The cannon rush may have been successful again.
That's right. And, you know, SOS definitely not going for that. Looks like it's going to be a hatchery first here.
Yeah, it's going to be a Nexus first here from SOS. And, you know, from here, we will not have any cannon tomfoolery.
Imagine if Jaydong went 3 hatcheries now and was playing the mind games here. And I think he might be. Look at this. He's saying, no, you're probably just going to expect me to play defensive. Take a Nexus first of your own. And Jaydong's saying, well, you know, I'm kind of smart myself. And looks like we are going to see that 3 hatchery play.
This is Jaydong saying, I am not backing down. I am not losing BlizzCon. I'm going to play my game and I'm going to beat you.
SOS maybe expecting a spawning pool first here. Totally shifted gears now. Now this opener here from SOS is your bread and butter PvZ opener. The way he takes the game from here is really where the beauty of Protoss is shown. How will he tech? Does he go for a few gateways and do a timing? Does he get the Stargates out? We're gonna have to wait and see.
Well, you know, I think a Stargate is probably a good choice, unless he's planning a 2-base all-in. What do you think, Paul? What is the best choice for him to use here on Whirlwind against Jaydong?
I think that SOS, if he was to play a regular game, like, for example, Deer, who Jaydong did beat, bear in mind, earlier on in this tournament, if he was to play a regular style, I think that's where Jaydong's going to be the most comfortable. I think SOS has to continue to ride the momentum from game number 1 and game number 2 and really just win by kind of outplaying and outsmarting Jaydong.
Now, you know, with a map like this, if Jaydong's allowed to play the way he would prefer to play, I mean, he is going to have a really easy time, I would think, winning this game. I mean, this is a big open map. Counterattacks, very easy. By the way, we've seen Jaydong counterattacking more than anybody out of our 16 players here today.
What is this probe in the top left building a pylon?
Oh my!
Oh, is he gonna do something
we may
sneaky?
see something here.
Well, he's definitely not expanding up there, so he's gonna maybe hide a pylon. You know, we do see Protoss players sometimes throw a probe into the corner of a map just so they can scout later on. But I would love to see him SOS show us something fancy.
He could possibly expand there, though. We've seen a few hidden expansions on 4-player bases so far in this tournament.
Actually, you do make a good point. With the map this big, in the upper left, that's the last place Jaydong would probably end up expanding to. And maybe, let's say he makes a Nexus up there. He can suck up all the minerals. Jaydong doesn't even know how many expansions his opponent has it there, and that affects the decision making.
I think that's what we may see here. Well, we'll have to find out, but on the other side of things, Jaydong has decided to get a kind of early evolution chamber. He's decided to research +1 melee attack for his Zerglings, and then get the Zergling speed. What he'll be looking to do here, he's actually expecting to see a 3rd base, a normal game here. But if the 3rd base is on the other side of the map...
You know, one thing that's really interesting about Protoss, whether it's StarCraft 1 or StarCraft 2, is all the good top-end Protoss players, they always had to play differently from each other. You know, you get sometimes Terrans there, you know, there's a certain way to do it, a right way to do it. I have seen so much guile, so much cunning coming out of SOS that it's blowing my mind here. Yeah, maybe we're going to have that probe in the upper left used. In the meantime, the Stargate play is the way to go, with a Void Ray clearing out any Overlords in close proximity.
Well, you know what? This could be part of the mind game of what that probe could be up to as well. SOS is very well known for going like 2 Stargate Void Ray a lot of the time against Zerg. It's something he's quite comfortable with.
You know, with 2 Stargate Void Ray, you can turtle for a long time.
Yes.
On that. And, you know, I think you guys might be right. Yeah, let's say he just turtles up and then just hides the space. And this is something that happens especially on Whirlwind. It's so big, and when you're both hugging the right side of the map in this case, you can end up completely ignoring that other side of the map. But instead, we're going to have, it looks like a pylon put right outside the Zerg's base.
Yeah, so it looks like he's going to move forward here, but he really doesn't have that much, does he? He's got the Mothership Core, he's got the Void Ray. He may be able to pick up a couple of Queens or so, but overall, this is not really anything dangerous.
And
Oh my God, he's doing it.
This is the amount of mind games that we're seeing here. That forward pylon was to force more units out of Jaedong because SOS is not leaving his two bases, which is going to allow Jaedong to trick himself into thinking he's forcing SOS to stay in his base.
That is so beautiful. You're absolutely right, Artosis. He just goes there to make that pylon, and Jaedong's thinking, what's this guy doing? I don't get this. He backs off, and now this expansion in the upper left is made. So here's the way the game should look. Let's say SOS gets what he wants. This is going to be a long, drawn-out game where Jaedong doesn't find out about the extra base in the upper left until it's too late. All of a sudden, Jaedong, thinking he's ahead or even, is in fact behind.
I think this really will question Jaedong's intelligence as this game goes on, but we'll come back to that in a second as the Void Rays have already picked up one Queen. They're going to get a second here.
Oh my God, so much damage being dealt already. In fact, they're going to get the Spore Crawler as well. The two Queens coming down, but they aren't enough to kill this all off.
And, you know, with the amount of damage he's taken there, this has got to be a very frustrating moment for Jaedong. I mean, that's just, the game looks so weird from the Zerg's perspective. I mean, it's really a big puzzle.
It is, and in fact, he's making a lot more Zerglings. He's even getting another macro hatch going down. And this is because he thinks he needs to keep denying a third base. Because there's so many Void Rays, you just don't have enough to stop mass Speedlings. But the third base is in the top left.
Is there any way that, I mean, this is going to be so incredibly difficult to read into that this is there. Is there some way, somehow, Jaedong can figure this out?
Well, I mean, he just has to send one lane rally from the up to the upper left and then down to the bottom right. And it looks like he might be doing some of that now. He's getting a little bit suspicious, but I got to say, SOS has done such a good job of making it look like his rush strategy didn't work, and then his third base is going to be late.
Well, we'll see if that does continue, because again, if Jaedong does send anything up there, it can be killed off rather quickly. Now, SOS, he's starting to get his macro and taking the natural of SOS's second main.
Okay, now he gets a cancel here on this Nexus, but SOS is going to be fine with that because SOS already has his third up and running. This is actually a greedy fourth. Protoss is not, they're not supposed to be ever able to get 4 bases up this fast because the Zerg can just stop it. But if the Zerg doesn't know that there's another base, then, you know, there's no way for him to punish it.
But look at this. We have 16 Mutalisks on the way against someone that is going for charge lots at the moment, researching Storm, and only has Void Rays as anti-air.
Only 5.
That's very true. The Void Rays are a very particular unit. I mean, they can just be blindsided. When you are going for 4 bases, you don't have a lot of production until those are up and running.
Well, the Zerglings coming in for yet another cancel. Looks like they should be able to get it. But that leaves the Mutas to go into the main base with no anti-air.
Mutas tearing in now, destroying the cannon. The third base is up and running. The probes are moving out now. A Zealot charge may be denied.
And I think it's going to get denied here, and it does get denied. And also the Templar Archive.
Oh, is he going to get it before Storm finishes? It looks like he does.
He does. Now the Mutas are retreating. And, you know, one thing that I think SOS didn't anticipate was that Muta attack like that.
That was huge. That was huge.
We have 60 more Lings on the way. But that hidden base is still not detected here for SOS. And as long as that goes on, that's a source of income that Jaedong can't punish.
I can't help but feel, Artosis, and you can agree or disagree with this, but as SOS, I feel the biggest component missing was scouting. He's built a strategy, he's built an opening, but where was the scouting? He had no idea what was really going on.
But this whole game is about not scouting. I mean, SOS hasn't actually didn't check what the tech was here for Jaedong. And then Jaedong didn't check for the hidden base here. The Nexus, by the way, taken out here as we are looking through the eyes of Jaedong right now.
You know, if I'm Jaedong, I might be thinking that I am way ahead at the moment. In fact, even catching some of these Phoenixes, a bit of sloppy play there from SOS.
And this would be really remarkable if Jaedong was to be able to win this game, considering his opponents had an upper hand for the majority of it.
Well, what SOS needs to do is bunker down and turtle and wait this out. It in a way should look like the last game that we saw. He just needs to defend, and let Jaedong think he has more of a lead than he actually does.
Well, you know what? Jaedong right now on 5 bases, getting infestors out, continuing to make mutas. If he gets one good fungal growth on all of these Phoenixes that are out there, he can just win the game.
And now SOS is going for his 5th base, which you so rarely get to see from a Protoss in this kind of a manner. If he gets this up, it could just turtle. He might be in good shape, but Jaedong is one of these guys with surgical precision with those mutas who could get in there and do the damage he needs to do.
Well, especially when he has 23 mutas. That's surgery with a sledgehammer, Tasteless.
So we have the Lings coming down now, probably try to deny this expansion yet again.
Well, they're not going to be able to get it, are they? With a couple more weapons, they should be able to push this back. I'm really excited to see these fungals come down. They could change everything in this game if they were to land.
SOS coming out here now and wiping out that small Zerg force. Jaedong right now might be a little bit confused. Wow.
Can he bait the Phoenixes? Can he bait the Phoenixes back? If he baits them back in,
beautiful.
That is not as many as he wanted, but that is a start at least. The thing is, SOS is going to be a lot more careful in the future.
All right, missed Phoenix, the fungal there. And now an engagement. Archon's hitting these infestors, and right now the Muta's taking some damage from those Archons as well.
Uh-oh, all of the Mutas are going to go down, but the Lings will clean up the ground army. Oh, no, Burrow. It doesn't look like he's going to get away with the infestors.
But he might be able to pick off the 3rd base here. That's a lot of Zerglings. There's not too much helping and surrounding it.
He has an Archon coming up here now. The Void Race coming up as well. Phoenix is rapidly picking up each individual Zergling. There may be just enough Protoss here in defense to save that Nexus.
And there are so many units streaming across the middle of the map as well.
Well, he does save the Nexus, but is he going to save it this time with that many Zerglings coming down? In fact, it looks like Jaedong is going to run into the main on the
Oh, beautiful warping by SOS.
Incredible. That could have been a game changer had he gotten into the main. Lings now again hitting this Nexus.
They've got the wraparound, Tasteless. They've got the wraparound on it.
And with that wraparound, they're going to be able to probably take this Nexus out. So many cannons being worked in. But again, the story is that Jaedong doesn't know about this base right up there. Jaedong is eventually going to end up expanding to that location and then finding out that he has been, well, part of a ruse all along.
You know what? I don't know that that expansion is actually going to be enough with 15 infestors on the way, as well as mass Zerglings, as well as Ultralisk upgrades. This army is so scary.
It's so strong.
If he can get in there and just destroy the bottom right, I mean, you can, in a sense, as far as stuff you have to kill off, if you look at the, as long as the bottom right, where all the stuff is produced from is killed, yeah, Jaedong absolutely wins.
14 Corruptors.
Wow.
This is quite the air army.
And you can see that with the turtling so heavily here from SOS, I mean, that's great and all, but it's the Phoenixes, they're allowing SOS to actually do any damage on the map, right? You know, these pickup queens taking out drones. With all those Corruptors, he can stop that immediately.
Well, we have a lot of Archons being made, and I do have to say that Archons are a good counter to Lings and to Corruptors and to Mutas, so that's still going pretty well for SOS.
And I think Jaedong agrees with you. He's added on 7 roaches here, which is going to be a lot better against these Archons than the Zerglings will. But it really feels that Jaedong is increasing his upgrades, and he is starting to build an army to take a fight soon.
And we did see those infestors getting burrowed. He may be moving out here to try to get a fungal of any of this bunched up army, or even dumping a bunch of infested Terrans here and then running in with the rest of his army.
You're really smart, Tasteless. If he's able to grab these units, that's a good start.
And it looks like he's going to get a lot of them, but some of them do get picked up. The Corruptors coming in from the side. Storm going down. A lot of infested Terrans as well.
And it looks like he might be able to get all of these infestors and he can just chase them down. The Corruptors are wiping out everything in the air, but the Protoss ground army is so dominant, warping in here at this pylon.
It looks like Jaedong does have to retreat once again, but he is maxed out. He still has a reasonable bank, and even going into Greater Spire now.
And he's able to keep 10 of the 15 infestors alive. Together with the Roaches, they are almost the best, the ultimate army against Zealot Archon. Landing the Fungals, preventing the charged Zealots from moving forward, keeping the Archons away from doing damage. If he's able to land the correct Fungals with the infestors left over and come in with the Roaches, even the corruption spell from the Corruptors, it would be such an amazing fight for him.
And this might be the perfect time to attack here for Jaedong, because SOS is trying to sneak that 5th base up here. Nice fungal! Beautiful infested Terrence raining down Psystorm to follow that up. But this may be just too much. The chain fungals can punish the Zealots so easily.
Roaches have pretty big umbrellas, Tasteless. They're surviving the storms and they're pushing forwards.
He's now going to close in here on the would-be 3rd base, keeping SOS under control. By the way, supplies right now, SOS at 107 to Jaedong being maxed out.
SOS is in some trouble now. Jaedong just has so many bases. He's hit a unit composition that's working out. And look at this, SOS going up here, finding all of these spine crawlers, and he's going to lose the rest of his army.
Yeah, he's going to lose the rest of the army. And as Jaedong may be sensing right now, SOS is losing control of this game. Jaedong is pushing forward. He didn't let this landslide happen. It isn't looking like a 0-3 at the moment. It is looking like Jaedong can potentially win this next map.
And that is exactly what he needs, because as we said before, if you're down 0-3 in a best of 7, the odds of you coming back are pretty slim.
Oh, he's trying to get something done with that War Prism, adding a Robo, another Robo at the moment, getting Blink. I don't know that any of this is really going to help out, though, because we could see a gigantic switch into Broodlords at any moment.
Yeah, look at the amount of money that Jaedong has banked up once again. Very similar to game number 1. He has a lot of options.
You know, this game is really a testament to how good Jaedong is, because despite still not knowing about this 3rd base in the upper left, he still has managed to just pound away at SOS and keep his options limited.
You know, this has to be a shocking wake-up call for SOS, who took the first 2 games in such glorious fashion. To come in here, hide his base, it never gets found, and Jaedong is crushing him.
And 7 Broodlords are on the way now. What really anti-air do we have left? Let me just go over the composition. 13 Zealots, don't shoot up. 2-3 Immortals, don't shoot up. And he's only got a couple of Storms, Tasteless. He doesn't have anything.
These Broodlords are going to come in here like the Langoliers and eat through the remainder of SOS's base.
Archons on the way. Those aren't going to help. He's never going to get there because we have a lot of Fungals with these Broodlords.
And Jaedong has built an army which may not be answered for here. With 7 Stalkers, emergency anti-airs coming in, but with the Fungal coming down on the Stalkers, they're not going to go anywhere.
He's continuing to move forward right now. SOS just trying to hang on in any possible way. The Broodlord still positioned so well. The Stalker's now pushing up. Can SOS hang on?
The Storm flank really did help out quite a bit, but SOS is not even making anything at the moment, and 28 meters on the way.
Jaedong wants to end this with his trademark move that he has made throughout the World Championship Series, the Flying V, the flock of Mutalisks. 37 Mutalisks!
And he'd be making 16 more if he wasn't maxed out.
Yeah, these mutants are going to come in here, and that is just, you can't stop this now. From all corners of the Zergone section of the map, the mutants are going to fly in, and Protoss has already been knocked back into the Stone Age at this point in time. I mean, you can't get an answer to this.
Watch this, Tasteless, as these Mutalisks enter the base. SOS is going to go, oh no! He's got nothing to do with it! Some passionate Jaedong fans out there in the audience right now, Artosis, as he does get one in his favor.
All right, well, let's see what they're thinking about at the expert desk here. Marcus, what's going on?
Well, a great final is what we got going on here at BlizzCon. SOS coming out of the gate, just throwing a massive quick 1-2. Jaedong then, and of course after the cannon rushes, Jaedong decides, sticking to my game, and that's definitely what I want to start with here on the expert desk. Sean?
I mean, it's so easy to get, really get into your own head, to really psych yourself out, to say, oh, I've lost to the sort of, you know, easy newbie to lose ways. Cannon Rush, hidden expansions, Void Rays. It's so easy to convince yourself that your strategy isn't going to work properly. And there's no Protoss out there who plays anything remotely close to SOS. Game 1 had to be the biggest confidence-shattering moment out there. I mean, having shut down the 4th base again and again and again and again and again and again, and then just getting rolled with this army with plenty of money to do the Mutalisk transition. And weirdly, he just didn't have the larva. But that last game, if Jaedong has any opportunity to open up the replay and see that he bested SOS, who had a free, uncontested base, that's going to be a big surge of confidence.
Yeah, that was...
Well, sticking to game plan, as you said, I mean, it's incredible how these guys are just living out what got them here, right? SOS, with that unconventional play in game number 2, just constantly all over Jaedong. Every move he made looked idiotic because of what SOS was doing. Game number 1, Jaedong had a big lead. SOS shows he's not a one-trick pony, claws back into it through great army control and the right composition. Game number 3, Jaedong is like, well, I got Cannon Rush twice, so I should probably go triple hatch before pool. and it was exactly the right call, because that was the game that SOS was like, well, surely I've Cannon Rushed him into submission. He will play 15 pool now. No, Jaedong is going to take those risks and take that advantage for himself. A beautiful series so far.
All right, let's go over to Rotterdam, who you know, has been behind SOS the whole time. Say, gosh, Jaedong's playing sick, and SOS came out, and I'm guessing those first 2 games is one of the reasons why you're like, this guy's why he's my pick.
I agree with everything that Sean and Jeff just said. I thought game number 1 was really crazy because I felt nothing was going SOS's way. There were like 4 hatcheries that survived with 100 HP. Normally you would just lose it and you'd be like so fed up. Somehow, some way he sticks around and eventually turns around and wins, which you would normally say that's like the craziest momentum you can ever have going for yourself, because nothing went his way from start to finish. Even like he dropped the Stargates, was ready for the Mutas, and Ultras came, just absolutely nothing. Somehow he wins the game. Game number 2, I think Jaedong made a big mistake not taking out those cannons, which, you know, in the first game he did take out that pylon on the high ground, which was so important, because that if SOS wanted to do the same thing in game 1 as he did in game 2, he couldn't do it anymore. He had to wipe in on the low ground, was just not going to work. And then game 3, you can write a book about that game. Absolutely fantastic play. I would say by both sides though, like SOS, as Jeff said as well, if you Cannon Rush someone twice, there's no way that someone is ever going to go double hatch before pool. Jaedong just shows us what a beautiful and great champion he is. Perhaps later this day, I don't know. It's just such a fantastic series already. I'm really loving it.
Todd, another resident Protoss expert here on the expert desk.
It is for Protoss.
We do have quite a few of those guys up here. But you know, what are your thoughts on how SOS has performed so far, and even the 3rd game?
I think these two, they have a very good match. Every time they play each other, they play memorable games. Thinking back on DreamHack Bucharest, they already faced each other. It was a 2-1 in SOS's favor, and there was a lot of those games that all of them were pretty epic. There was some base trade, a lot of mutual transitions, and that time it really felt like SOS was just doing better overall than Jaedong. But in this series, it's really been going. I mean, the games have been very even up until some point where somebody starts really messing up, and then somebody takes a lead and never lets go of it. In that last game, it was just crazy the way Jaedong played this. He took a lot of bases. SOS took some huge risk. I have to wonder, was he goofing around taking this top left-hand side base, or did he really think it was good?
$100,000 on the line, man. His ball is so clenched.
You're up 2-0, the game's going pretty well for you.
Yeah. Well, what I think was the biggest difference between game 1, 2, and 3 is that game 1 and 2, SOS really dictated the pace of the game by saying like, hey, I'm going to drop these cannons. Even in the first game, it wasn't super successful. He still throws Jaedong off, completely changes the game, how Jaedong would normally want to play it. And, you know, all the normal timings of now I have to check for pylons, probes, that everything like that doesn't count anymore. That's just gone.
I think like SOS, he was okay with the way the game was going up until when the Muta sniped the Twilight Council and then the Templar Archive.
First, this still, of course, can be a fast expand build. And Jaedong is now going to head his drone over here to his natural and make a hatchery.
That's right. No fear out of Jaedong. He's going for that hatchery first, and I do think it's going to be just about every game. And you know what? Hatchery first, really nice against a gateway expansion.
I mean, if we look at Jaedong's history this year in tournaments he's played, every single time that he played against Naniwa, for example, earlier on in DreamHacks and other WCS tournaments, it was always hatchery first. Naniwa physically had to go double gateway rush against it.
He's doing something
crazy again. He's got the pylon going down here. It looks like he wants to freak out Jaedong due to the pass.
Mind games.
Hashtag mind games here. And then he cancels. Now that's drones that are not mining for a certain period of time. But Jaedong didn't overreact.
No, he only pulled a third drone down and then turned it around when he realized, oh, okay, this guy is pulling my chain. So that was a nice mind game by SOS, but Jaedong caught on to it very quickly.
I have literally never seen in like a finals like this somebody who's so brainy in their play. I mean, everything SOS does is disguised so well. I can't imagine how difficult it is for Jaedong to read him.
Artosis, you've had the opportunity to commentate week in, week out SOS this year. He's from the Korea region. You guys commentate the Korea region. What are some of the tendencies that you see from gateway expansions as we're seeing from SOS now that he usually does?
You know what? I would not be surprised at all if we saw him throw up a Stargate. I feel like that's where his strength really does lie. You give this guy a couple Void Rays and a Twilight Council, and he's going to make some magic.
I got to agree with you there, Artosis. I think the Stargate is definitely the way to go here. He's really good at using active units like Phoenixes, for instance.
What is that?
What?
It's called a robotics facility.
Oh my God, a robotics facility. What does that make?
Immortals.
Immortals?
Oh.
They live forever.
Well, maybe not in this game against Jaedong. Now,
you know
where is he going to take us here? These games are so hard for us to predict at this point in time because SOS has been playing so weird. The positioning of the Robo, by the way, tucked into a corner, not out at the entrance, right? I don't know how much more we can glean from that. He is walling in with the gateways. Is he going to do some kind of a weird timing? Is it even something as simple as I just want to get an observer out really fast? I mean,
this is Immortal Zealot. He only has one gas. That is exactly what we are about to see. This is a build that was like really good in the Korean metagame for about a day and a half earlier this year. And a Warp Prism? What is this?
Well, Jaedong with his Overlord has spotted the lack of that single gas on the left-hand side.
Let's see if he sees the Warp Prism here.
He sees the lack of gas.
Oh my God.
Which way does he turn?
Well,
is he turning at all?
He's not turning at all. He's
turning. He's going to exactly curve around this Robo. He's going to draw an outline of a robotics facility. And yeah, he never saw.
So
well, that doesn't.
Well, he sees it now with the wings.
Well, with the Warp Prism being built first over the Immortal, even though some of you may say, well, he's not building the Immortals as fast as possible to rush them out here. But what this does offer, imagine if this Warp Prism really pushes Jaedong to make a lot of units. That also slows him down because he's not building drones at this point. He needs a higher economy to deal with an Immortal attack.
Now he's making a bunch of gates off of this, and this doesn't seem like a super committed Robo attack. And this is going right into what we've seen SOS doing all night tonight, is just the mind games, faking them out, psyching them out.
Well, he's making those roaches be produced. And in fact, we do have some drones coming up from Jaedong, so he's not over-making at the moment. But this attack, when it comes, guys, it's going to be so scary. A lot of Zealots, a lot of Immortals, still no second gas.
Do you think Jaedong's identified what's going on yet? He's seen a lack of that, second gas inside the main base. He's droning quite heavily. He sees a Warp Prism flying around.
I think he thinks that SOS had to have changed what he was going to do because it's been scouted, but SOS, always deep in those mind games, is just continuing forward with this crazy all-in.
And he's going to push out now and see if he can't press for some damage.
Well, he's moving forward. The Warp Prism, warping in a couple more Zealots. Jaedong is building units. He's not too high up with his drone count, currently 54, and he's building 10 roaches. Are they going to be enough here? Remember, with no sentries, he's not going to really be able to hold these units back from rushing in.
That is a lot of roaches, but yeah, with that many Zealots, I mean, you can't kite all day against this, and look at that, a beautiful Time Warp does go down. The Immortals moving forward, trying to hit the roaches. A second Time Warp goes down.
He's continuing to just press for more and more damage. The roaches now up against the ropes. The Zealots here just dishing out so much. He can continue to warp in. These Immortals are so well positioned, by the way.
Just an amazing attack thus far. More and more roaches just piling out. But these two Immortals killing them off. GG! And that brings us to 3-1 for SOS.
SOS is changing, you know, not just the way we see Protoss, but the way we see StarCraft 2. You know, we've seen a lot of players who are mechanical. We've seen a lot of players who are just good at little battles and engagements, okay? We see a lot of people who are good at just playing conservatively. This guy is inside your head. These are actually games that are, I think you guys can agree with this, pretty difficult to cast because I can't read what SOS is going to do until he pulls it out.
He's so unpredictable, and that's who he is. He changes it up from game to game to game. If he was using the same style inside out, Jaedong would know what to do. He'd be cutting the right corners, he would be prepared at all times. That's what's going wrong here.
And here's something to keep in mind. SOS only has to trick Jaedong one more time.
Well, Jaedong needs to win 3 in a row at this point.
And think about this. Has SOS actually tricked Jaedong in every single game? Actually, yes. Jaedong never found that expansion in the upper left. So this is a pretty tense moment. I can only imagine what this conversation is like going on in Jaedong's booth as to how he needs to play this if he wants to be a champion.
Well, you know what? The next map is going to be Frost, and I think that this is a good map for Jaedong. I feel like, you know, it's so big that if you can get into that late game, it's going to be quite hard for SOS to win.
Is this a map now where SOS, as you know, keep on asking, can say, cannon rush time? Is this where he does it when he's 3 games to 1 with just one single map from being the 2013 world champion?
You know, let's talk about that for a second, because there's an interesting theme that's going on here. He's primed Jaedong from the start with cannon rushes, right? And then he's followed the next 2 games up with proxy pylons or just something that alludes to another rush. I don't know if it's going to be a cannon rush again this game, but I could see him faking or trying to fake Jaedong out with another pylon. He might even want to go for just some really basic gateway timing attack at this point in time. Jaedong's mind is going to be spinning so fast trying to figure out what on earth is this crazy player doing. That might catch him off guard as well.
It is a 4-player map though, so a cannon rush isn't as easy to pull off. It is difficult.
Sure,
you need to scout twice. You probably need to send out double probes to find out where Jaedong is as soon as possible, otherwise it wouldn't be executed as fast.
It's not as easy, but can we all agree that Jaedong should be going hatchery first on this map?
Yeah.
It's either hatchery first or a Zergling rush, so going for a forge quickly is not that bad an option.
It is very true. We're very close now to starting in game number 5 here. And yep, it looks like the players are both.
I think we can all safely say when Protoss players are struggling, when Protoss players are losing hope, SOS is the one to look to.
He truly is, Apollo. He's revolutionized really every matchup at least once, in fact. It's crazy to think about. He doesn't quite get the love of Jaedong, but maybe if he can close this series out, he'll start to.
Man, Jaedong, does he need to just like completely change his play style here? I mean, does he need to just completely reinvent the way he's opening up?
Well, he's changed his opening in this game. He's decided to go spawn and pull first here. Is he maybe expecting that we could have seen that cannon rush happen?
Well, what this does is it gives SOS an advantage. It looks like he's going forge and main fast expand, and against a 14 pool on a map this size, it's like the best counter to it.
Well, the hatch goes down now, and it seems like SOS, as far as, I mean, this guy should go to the casino after this. Every time he bets on anything, he gets it right compared to whatever Jaedong's trying to anticipate.
The mind games certainly have gone his way, but you know what? Going for pool first is not that big of an upsetting thing for Zerg. His economy is still going to be completely fine. It's not like he's rushing and failing. He's just playing a slightly safer build.
Do you think that we'll see any major differences from Jaedong in this game? Because he is trailing. You know, 1 game mess up, he's second place again. What do you think, either of you? I mean, what do you think he needs to do different? What is going wrong?
He needs to keep playing like he's playing. He is playing fantastically. He's getting tricked a bit. You know, I think that SOS is actually outthinking him in most of these games. Like, he scouted 1 gas, right? He saw the War Prism come out. That normally only means a Mortal Zealot attack, but he didn't counter it.
I would say Jaedong has to go by the notion of doubt everything. Nothing you know is for sure. Scout every corner of the map for anything. Keep scouting. Don't over-drone. Don't get greedy. Because the way SOS is playing, as long as Jaedong spots it and prepares for it, he should win.
And it's funny you say that because that is usually how Jaedong plays. I mean, look at the games that he's played prior to this, the ones he's beat. He has scouted everything. He has reacted to everything. He has stopped everything. But in this series, it's just not quite the same.
It's wild to see. SOS definitely securing his spot as one of the best Protosses in the entire world, if not the best at the moment. But what does he do this game? What does he do in a game where he's gone Nexus first, it's a gigantic map, and it's cross spots, which makes any attacks a lot harder?
Also, just to go off that, the way this map is shaped is so weird when you're in cross spots fights. There's so many different ways to get to the same spot. So I'm not entirely sure. I mean, do you think SOS might just turtle up kind of like he did on Akalon? Is that maybe his best bet?
I think so, Tasteless, because even though we look at SOS as a thinker, an intelligent Protoss player, we've seen throughout this tournament, especially in the games he played against Polt, this guy can play toe-to-toe with you if given the opportunity. He doesn't necessarily need to outthink you. He can play fine as well.
And that's what makes him so dangerous. So we'll see if he goes for that. He is grabbing a really quick Stargate here. He has all his geysers. He's getting his +1. This is a very standard, tried and true opener.
It's also possible that SOS is really banking on the next map after this. You know, this is just a tricky map in general for Protoss against Zerg. But yeah, it's a situation where, you know, SOS has got to be so confident. He's got to feel like he's got Jaedong's numbers at this point in time.
Yeah, he can almost use this game as, let me just feel you out a little bit more, Jaedong, because depending on how this goes, he can really, as you described, mold the rest of the series. He can play aggressive cannon rush. He can play normal again, depending on how this goes.
Well, he's adding 3 more gates. Still very standard what we're seeing, creating a lot of sentries as well. I think he's just going to be going into a 3rd base, Apollo.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it? Jaedong has scouted the Stargate and +1 attack. I think he just missed the gateways, but overall, Jaedong sees what we see so far, apart from the gateways, but he can assume that they're coming, therefore he can assume that this also should be a 3rd base.
So yeah, so far, I mean, SOS playing a very normal game, which also could kind of go into the crazy mind games he's been playing. Is all right, well now I'm going to do the standard one, then I might go back to doing the wild stuff I've been doing before.
Yeah, play completely standard, the thing that you hit on ladder all the time, and then in the next game go for another cannon rush. I like it.
Let's see if it's going to be effective though, because like we were saying before this series started, I mean, if it's a standard game, that's usually when Jaedong is able to take control. He's able to punish you. He's able to manipulate and bend the game to his will.
Well, there's a couple of zealots here for this pylon and probe, which has gone unscouted, and there's quite a few now. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on who you're rooting for here, this has gone unscouted. This actually could win the tournament. A simple move like this, if Jaedong, for example, was to lose his 3rd base, and he's still only building drones.
Oh, this could be so bad.
I'm starting to wonder if Jaedong is now, SOS is playing might have just worked. Jaedong now is overthinking stuff. It didn't check for a simple pylon outside of his base.
Has he got no lava?
Nothing.
10 lanes on the way. That's not going to do anything.
This is a disaster. The Zealots are doing so much damage here. They're probably going to be able to take out this hatchery. Drones scattering. Nothing here to defend.
And he's even taking out that Spore Crawler so his Phoenixes can help more. This is a lot of Zealots. Behind it, he's even going Colossus
and
tap.
After all of this series, such a simple move, so simple, so easy to pull off, could be the one thing that pushes SOS to the victory here at Blizzcon.
The Zealots have good surface area here, doing fantastic against these Zerglings, and this is a huge blow. +1 attack, unfortunately, finishing just a second too late.
All right, so that's the end of that rush, but I feel like it was pretty effective overall. He killed off a decent amount. He got rid of that Spore, which means these Phoenixes can still reign supreme. But the Hydras are finally out.
Yeah, that was a little bit scary there for Jaedong, but he does survive. 10 drones were lost. The Hydras do push the Phoenixes back for now. As we can see, there are the units lost. A lot of Zerglings, quite a few drones, but overall, for SOS, hardly any losses.
Now the Protoss transitions in a very healthy fashion, getting armor. Colossi just going to get pumped out. The Twilight Council's on the way. I mean, that attack was a success there for SOS. It did the damage he needed to do.
That was, this is a perfect scenario for SOS. When you want to go for Phoenixes into a Colossus in third base, if you do something like kill 10 drones, then all the normal Corruptor timing attacks are not going to end up killing you if you control correctly.
I mean, look at this. The Hydralisks are out, but so is the first Colossus. So it's not like he can hit and slow down SOS with just Hydralisks. He's not going to slow SOS from getting ready for Corruptors, as you describe. Jaedong is playing a game from, I'd say, 30 seconds to a minute behind where he'd usually be. He has to really bring something very different if he wants to really get back equal in this game.
That's right. As you say, 30 seconds to a minute behind, plus this is the longest map that we have, which puts him even further behind on any attacks. I don't think that he can do any busts. I think that Jaedong has to go into a very long macro game to win.
You know, Jaedong, we've already seen today that he's so good in that long macro game. I mean, this guy, no matter what size of the map or no matter how the geography of it lays out, he's able to keep control. SOS has shown us, however, that he is able to curl up into a ball and wait it out until it's his time to push out.
Well, that pylon's still alive, actually, and there is a Zealot going to come in. If he actually whoops in a couple more, he could get a cancel on that fourth base, slowing Jaedong even further.
That would be too much.
This pylon that hasn't been spotted here, I mean, this is pretty surprising. I think we can all agree. I mean,
where did those Zealots come from earlier, Jaedong?
I know, kidding, exactly. Like, the Zealots didn't magically appear out of nowhere. They were warped in from what? A pylon. And Jaedong hasn't seemed to check it. And I think what we can glean from that is that Jaedong is not himself right now. SOS's mind games have now gotten into Jaedong's head, and he's not playing at 100%.
Well, you know what? The person playing at 100% certainly is SOS. Everything looks great. Blank finishing, more gateways, Thermal Lance, Colossi, +2 attack. He's even pushing out the map, which is forcing more and more units out of Jaedong, something that he really doesn't want to make.
And well, Jaedong's going to be asked the question, can you defend against this attack? Because if not, then we're going to have a Protoss World Champion. This attack coming now, as you described, Blink, +2 attack isn't too far away. There's a good amount of Colossus, there's Time Warp, there's the force fields here. Jaedong needs to probably flank well, come from behind. He has to deal with this attack, otherwise SOS will be the champion.
And that's the last thing that Jaedong needs at this point in time. I mean, this is the map for Jaedong, by the way. This is the map. Before this entire series started, I was thinking, okay, well, he's probably going to win. No matter what, hold on, he's catching these Hydras.
All right, not quite as bad as it could have been there. Now, this is a maxed out Zerg army, so SOS still has to be careful. He does hallucinate with single Colossus. Looks like his Phoenix is getting picked off very quickly. We're going to have to see some great force fields here as well.
Oh, and here the fight engages. The Corruptor's trying to bring down the Colossus fast enough. Is this going to be the fight that Jaedong wants? SOS reinforcing with more Stalkers, though.
The Stalkers blink under, and there is not much left on the ground. GG! SOS is the WCS StarCraft 2 World Champion. It's been all year, and it cannot be disputed. SOS is your champion!
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for the 2013 StarCraft 2 World Champion, Woongjin Stars, SOS! Come on here, we're going to try and get one quick word from you. SOS, fantastic final, a 4-1 victory over Jaedong, which was never easy, and you've had a terrific tournament. Can you put into words for us exactly what this means to you to be the 2013
over Jaedong to lead him to victory. Guys, we have a lot to talk about here, and what was a great competition from start to finish, but also, you know, a great finals. And who wants to kick us off?
I mean, the fact of the matter is that SOS has been struggling so much in the second half of the year, and he was probably on the lowest end of all radars. I mean, people are hyping up Deer, people still believing so firmly in innovation, but SOS, his second place in Season 1 was forgotten so quickly, and Wongjin Stars has pretty much been cut down to...
This has been a beautiful league, or even underdog, that people weren't talking about, that people had kind of forgotten. It's something that I'll tell my kids about. It's something that... I think back to MMA's interview at European Finals that I was able to host, where he actually said, when I won Blizzcon, it's something that I'll tell my kids about. It's something that I'm going to carry with me for the rest of my life. So to see this guy, see this underdog that people weren't talking about, that people had kind of forgotten, to go on that big stage, to take out a legend like Jaedong, to hold up that trophy and to make a memory for himself in this setting is absolutely incredible. And it's what a gift to be able to sit here and witness that.
Yeah.
Todd, earlier we talked about, you know, Protoss's sort of solidifying themselves as like, this Protoss has a legacy. Does this do it for SOS? I mean, it has to, right? It's an automatic. Congrats, you've just leveled up to one of the top.
Exactly. I mean, Deer looked dominant in 2 of the latest tournaments, and now SOS 4-1 in the finals. The one map that he lost, he shouldn't even have lost that one. He was in a great position, and then Jaedong with some nice move was able to win it. I'm just in shock. I did not expect this to happen. I did not expect these guys to both make it to the finals and then to play these games in which SOS completely dominated Jaedong.
And all of this before our oracles get faster next week, too. I'm really excited.
Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the individual games or maybe moments that stood out in your mind, but let's talk about the ongoing story now. Another chapter is added. I think this is chapter 5 of the second place finish for Jaedong. Now, especially at BlizzCon, where there's a lot of money on the line, second place is still a really phenomenal placing. Yeah. But it has been this baggage that Jaedong has had to carry with him. So, you know, what does this mean? I mean, obviously his fans are a legion, global, and they will continue to stand behind him. We take this storyline into the next year, but a lot of people were hoping to see this storyline conclude, that first place championship win for Jaedong here. What do you guys think about this and what this means for Jaedong going forward?
This has been a monkey on his back. And going into every single tournament, everyone has talked about, wow, he's such a good player, but he still hasn't gotten that big win. And he himself even kind of raised the stakes with this tournament, where at the end of every one of the WCS big tournaments that he lost, he said, I'm thinking about BlizzCon. BlizzCon's the one I'm going to do. And here we are at BlizzCon. He came so close. In the games that he won, in the series that he won, they weren't close. I mean, the Deer series was very close, but he played absolutely dominating. Beautiful StarCraft, and we talked about it all weekend long, but he's the kind of player that rides on that emotion, rides on that momentum, and sometimes people can do things to stymie that by throwing him off. And I think SOS did a beautiful job, as Rotterdam said earlier, dictating the pace and really controlling the match, and it ended up being the big win.
I mean,
all right, guys, I'm sorry to kind of cut you off, but we have a little bit less time than we actually thought. So, real quickly, final thoughts, Roddy.
I think SOS redefined of how we should play PvZ today, and it's something that, you know, without even going really into detail about what, I learned so much from just watching these games, and I think we have a fantastic champion we can be very proud of. It was an amazing tournament.
Quickly, Sean.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely changed the way PvZ's thought of, but Jaedong too has been showing that Zerg versus Terran.
All right, I'm sorry, we're running out of time, Sean. We're going to have to take it over. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for the 2013 WCS Global Finals. Ladies and
showing that Zerg versus completely changed the way PvZ's thought of, but Jaedong too has been showing that Zerg versus Terran.
All right, I'm sorry, we're running out of time, Sean. We're going to have to take it over. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for the 2013 WCS Global Finals.
The game's
in the production, we'll time 2013.
And here we are at BlizzCon. He came so close at BlizzCon. With there, but he still hasn't gotten that big.
And what this means for Jaedong.
Wow. He's such a good player, but he still hasn't gotten that big win. WCS
a little bit
thought of, but Jaedong too.
It's been a fantastic time here on the Expert Desk, and thank you to everyone involved here in the production. We'll see you next time. Peace.
You're watching Blizzcon 2013, an original DirecTV production since 2008. Level up to DirecTV at directv.com.
So did we watch it all? What?
Oh! Wow! You alright? Yeah, I think you're going the wrong way. Yeah, and you're not using a crosswalk. You're right. Oh! Wow! You alright? Yeah, I think you're going the wrong way. Yeah, and you're not using a crosswalk. You're right. Oh!
Oh, there's a million needles everywhere. Because this is what happens when you don't use the bag that I provided to take the tree outside.
The tree's not supposed to die and have a million needles.
Oh, look! Guess what has no needles? The tree. Oh, there's a million needles everywhere. Because this is what happens.
I don't think you can sell people. Oh my God! Yes. Hi.
You. I'm Chad Michael Busto. You know who I am. I need to see you at some point while I'm doing your okay? There you go.
I don't think you can sell people. Oh my God! Yes. Hi.
You. I'm Chad Michael Busto. You know who I am. I need to see you at some point while I'm doing your okay? There you go.
I don't think you can.
How you doing?
Are you on a plane?
Yeah, yeah, let me show you.
Wait, how do you even have Wi-Fi?
So, here's my view. Whoa!
Dude, his phone fell out of the plane.
How you doing?
Are you on a plane?
Yeah, yeah, let me show you.
Wait, how do you even have Wi-Fi?
So, here's my view. Whoa!
I wanted to play some games, but now I'm kind of tired. So I think I'll just go to bed. I'm trying to get my sleep schedule back on track a little bit. So I guess I'll call it a night. Peace.